Hello, welcome to the Fanfic Majesty. Chapter 201. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The hands suddenly swelled up, like dough being pulled into noodles, and stretched out ruggedly, similar to Luffy's rubber fruit ability, but Charlotte Kata Curry's waxy fruit, except for the extension, it can also restrain people. As long as they are hit by Kata Curry's moves, the things they touch will be stuck, eventually making the enemy unable to move. The only way to crack a glutinous fruit is to touch moisture. As long as it touches moisture, the stickiness will disappear. However, all this Nine Tails does not know. Boy, your long tentacles are really disgusting. The old man will trim you off. The 9 tails of Nine Tails demon foxes stretched out naturally. While talking, in front of Nine Tails Hungarian, the tail beast cannons were directly condensed. The violent energy swept through most of the Fishmen Island. Some civilians shivered and curled up in the corner, cold sweating. Mao, the faces of some civilians were full of horror and trembling. The strong wind set off a piece of bricks and tiles, and at this time the Fishmen Island swept the wind, and everyone who was blowing squinted their eyes. Nine Tails, don't go too far, just suppress them. Chin Luo frowned slightly, and involuntarily hugged Taotu's thin waist with his palm. Taotu frowned slightly, feeling the warmth of the willow waist, and looked at Chin Luo. Chin Luo broke the topic shamelessly and said solemnly to Nine Tails. Yes, master. Hearing Chin Luo's advice, Nine Tails' tail beast shrank slightly before Hungary, but the terrifying energy contained in it caused the pupils of Charlotte Kata Curry to shrink. What a strong energy fluctuation, what devil fruit ability is this? Why doesn't it feel like it? Advertisement. Huh, kid, it's dangerous to be distracted by fighting with the old man. Nine Tails sneered on the evil face, and the tail beast bullets from the front of Hun also shot out suddenly, bringing up a white line in the air, and dust around flew out by such a huge energy, the Fishmen Island began to shake. Asshole. This Nine Tails is really a headache. Chin Luo frowned seriously, but his palm followed the beautiful curve outlined by the peach rabbit. Hey, say wolf, there's no end. Taotu licked her lips, the last trace of stubbornness. Kai also disappeared without a trace of anger. Taotu stared at her beautiful eyes and looked at Chin Luo in shame. Where is the say wolf? Where is it? Bastard, there is a say wolf, then you must be protected. You can't let you suffer. Hearing that, Chin Luo was anxious to be wise, and hugged Taotu directly with both hands, but caught off guard, Taotu's whole body was close to Chin Luo's body. Looking up at Chin Luo, this guy looked at the four directions with a serious face, and waited for him, as if he was a righteous gentleman. After struggling for a few times, I noticed that Chin Luo's arms were very hard, but still did not get rid of it. Looking at Chin Luo, this person is shamelessly saying something. I will protect you. Don't worry. Things like that make Taotu quite speechless, twisted twice, and finally Taotu blushed in shame, lowered her head in shame, and let Chin Luo hold him. And this scene fell out of the eyes of the civilians of the Fishmen Island, and suddenly a shocked eyeball. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Huh. What's so good? Smelly man. Tsunade puts his hands around Hun, speaking sourly, his beautiful eyes constantly sweeping towards the peach rabbit in Chin Luo's arms. A touch of envy flashed by Chaw's. How good is it to be guarded by such a man? Although Tsunade hated Chin Luo when she first came here, after a short time of contact, she found that Chin Luo is not bad, not only not bad, but also has a certain attractive charm. Asshole. How could my old mother disrupt her thoughts because of her children's love? Tsunade shook his forehead sharply. Chin Luo observed Tsunade's mood swings, turned his head, and glanced lightly. Advertisement. What are you looking at? Tsunade. I'm tired, so I'll be slamming my back. Why? You forgot, you will be mine for the next 50 years. If you don't want to lose your virginity, then lose your integrity. Hurry up and hammer. Humph. Tsunade stared with shame in his eyes, and finally swallowed the breath aggrievedly, and pressed Chin Luo obediently. At this moment, the entire battlefield was hitting fire and heat, and I saw the tail beast cannon roaring past, and when it was approaching Charlotte Kata Curry's body, it suddenly exploded, and countless smoke and dust rose into the sky, like a huge flower. Mushroom clouds, black clouds covering the sky, flying sand and rocks, the Fishmen Island is in turmoil. In the center of the explosion, circles of gray smoke spread out, like water ripples. Cough cough cough. Cough cough cough. Kata Curry walked out of the explosion embarrassedly, his whole body scorched. Even both legs were severely deformed, and the rectangular rice cake covered by armament hockey was also blown to pieces. Is your ability so terrifying? Kata Curry's pupils tightened, Cold sweat broke out. Little devil, just one tail beast cannon was beaten like this. You are much weaker than Whitebeard. Ninetails gave Katakuri a disdainful look and smiled. Whitebeard. Katakuri shuddered when he heard the words, and said in disbelief. Have you seen Whitebeard? More than ever, this guy was beaten up by the master with me. What is the name of the one under him? Phoenix Marco. You know. Philadelphia. What happened to him? Katakuri looked panicked and said with white lips. Advertisement. ... Although he didn't know Luyun's ability, he knew the strength of Whitebeard. Even their mother would not dare to face Whitebeard. At the very least, I dare not now. He was almost beaten to death by the old man. If the boss hadn't stopped him, I'm afraid Whitebeard would have collected his son's body long ago. Ninetails smiled wickedly, looking at the chaotic little ghost in front of her with interest. Nonsense. Marco the Phoenix is a rare species of zone fantasy beast. It is said that he possesses the ability to be immortal. He is heaven-defying. Even if he is seriously injured, he can survive. You said that he almost killed him. This is absolutely not true. Katakuri backed back and analyzed. Don't believe it. Ninetails smiled and said, if you don't believe it, then you believe it. After speaking, the red glow from Ninetails rushed out and spread all over the body. After that, the figure shrank nearly twice, but the constant churn of energy in the body caused Katakuri to sweat. Demon Fox Coat. With a shout, Ninetails' body was covered with scarlet chakra like lava. In Katakuri's short stupefaction, Ninetails already carried the huge chakra and fought away. The claws were sharp and swept toward Katakuri, bursts of air-breaking sound burst, and cracks were printed in the void, and 5 astonishing red lights swept towards Katakuri and landed on his body. Glutinous iron wall. Katakuri looked panicked and hurriedly stopped. The 5 roads swept through the cold light like a sharp blade, and the glutinous iron wall suddenly cracked, and the ravines were shocking. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 202. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Katakuri's chest was slightly up and down, and he took a few steps backwards quickly before looking cautiously at the Ninetails in front. Just now Ninetails caught him. If he hadn't dodged quickly, he might have been cracked by the opponent. He didn't expect that the strength of the talking big fox was so terrifying that even the glutinous iron wall, wrapped in his armament hockey, could not stop the opponent's claws. The whole body of Ninetails is almost full of weapons. Whether it is claws, teeth, or tail, they are all powerful and a real monster. Qin Luo hugged the Peach Rabbit in his arms, and kept his big hand on him, slowly exploring this, making Peach Rabbit shiver all over, and he couldn't help giving Qin Luo a white eye. The wolf licked the oil, really blatant, beside him. There are so many people watching. Especially Tsunade. While pressing Qin Luo's shoulders while watching him molesting Peach Rabbit, I always feel a little uncomfortable in my heart. I wish that Qin Luo was holding her. Hey, Bigu Mamu's generals, do they have this strength? With your 3-legged cat's skill, you dare to come to Murloc Street. Is it too arrogant? I don't know who this is. The sight. Qin Luo looked at Katakuri with a mocking look, ignoring his sullen expression, and provoked. This is the second time Big Mom has sent people to Murloc Street. Qin Luo originally thought she would come here in person. Even her number 1, Admiral Capone Beige, was killed by herself. With the strength he showed, he sent 2 sons over this time. Isn't this looking for a chance? Huh, Luyun, you don't have to stimulate me. Relying on the help of your subordinates is nothing. There is a way for you to challenge me. You are definitely not my opponent. Katakuri, who was ridiculed by Qin Luo, was furious. He couldn't help but glared at Qin Luo and provoked. Advertisement. He also saw that Lu Yun had never made any moves from beginning to end, and he had only let 2 men come down to help. Perhaps Lu Yun was not strong at all, it was just pretentious. As long as the fierce leader personally confronts Lu Yun, he can seize the opportunity and take Lu Yun as a shield, but it is not that he has to listen to everything. Boy, it's useless if you want to excite this uncle. With your strength, if you don't cooperate with me in the fight, it will be almost the same for Bigum. Qin Luo looked at Katakuri with a sneer, completely unmoved, looked at each other with disdain, and didn't look like he wanted to make a move at all. For him, dealing with 2 small characters, Ninetails and Uchiha Itachi, are enough. If any small shrimp wants to challenge him, he will be too busy for a long time. Qin Luo is the one who is most afraid of trouble. People. In front of the old man, you dare to distract and provoke the boss. I think you are looking for death. Let you taste the old man's power. Ninetales said with a roar, and the aura on his body became strong. When the Ninetales flicked out, they turned into several black shadows and shot at Katakuri. Facing the overwhelming and terrifying shadow attack, Katakuri was shocked, but his reaction was very quick. Originally, his strongest was observation haki, his five senses were extremely keen, and he could often make reasonable predictions the moment the enemy launched an attack. Therefore, although Ninetales' attack was fast and fierce, Katakuri reacted. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. His legs suddenly turned dark black, and armament haki covered his thighs. Nuo battle axe. One of Katakuri's legs suddenly swelled and turned into a huge black whip more than 10 meters long. With a kick of the leg, this black thigh was raised more than 10 meters high, like a giant battle axe, and struck the black shadow from the Ninetales in front. Bang! Advertisement. The thighs wrapped in armament haki collided with the tail wrapped in the fox coat. Suddenly, a terrifying storm's energy erupted, and it turned towards the surroundings. Moreover, the ground was exploded with huge cracks, and the strong energy instantly destroyed many surrounding houses. The residents around the Fishman Island, and some pirates trembling with fright, were all creeping on the ground and afraid to move, with a frightened expression on their faces. Boy, the response is very quick, so don't blame the old man for being rude. Ninetales saw that his attack was once again difficult by Katakuri, and immediately felt that his face was very shameless. He is a dignified Ninetales monster, how could he still not be able to clean up a little guy? The boss is watching from the side. Can't persuade. Thinking of this, Ninetales' demon fox didn't hesitate anymore, and his breath rose in vain. The huge chakra was boiling like a boil. With a roar, a dark red-tailed beast bomb condensed on the chest and ejected towards Katakuri. Look, the old fox, Ninetales, still can't hold back his breath, it's really moving. Hey, Ninetales, you can take a moment, don't tear this kid up, it's still useful to keep his life. Chin Luo sighed involuntarily and reminded him. Hearing Chin Luo's voice, Ninetales' tailed beast bomb couldn't help but weaken by a half, but the aura was still terrifying, full of violent aura. Puff! The tailed beast bomb turned into a red light, and instantly ejected towards Katakuri. The speed was so fast that she arrived in front of Katakuri with no eyesight. Nuo iron wall. In the face of this terrifying tailed beast bomb, even if Katakuri's observation haki is powerful, it is impossible to completely dodge this breath-locked blow. Advertisement. In desperation, he could only create another glutinous iron wall, and then the whole person began to quickly backstage. Bang! Katakuri still underestimated the power of Ninetales' anger. The glutinous iron wall in front was instantly destroyed by tailed beast bomb, which was as vulnerable as paper. Ah, damn, why are you such a strong fox? Katakuri let out a scream, his whole body rolled tens of meters away, and after hitting many houses one after another, he vomited blood and stopped. After a few seconds, Katakuri swayed, resisting the pain in his body, stood up, looked at Ninetales facing him again with a look of horror, with a look of despair. This fox is too strong, and 3.0 is not what he can stop. At this time, the battle between Uchiha Itachi and Charlotte Cracker, who was next to him, also began to come to an end. Ninjutsu Dragon Fire Technique. Saw Itachi opened his mouth, and a roaring fire dragon rushed towards Cracker with its teeth and claws. The fire dragon carried a terrifying high temperature. Under the attack of the fire dragon, the biscuit soldiers only persisted for a few seconds before turning to ashes. Cracker hurriedly swung his sword and slashed it quickly, turning into countless powerful and unmatched sword auras, slashing on the fire dragon, and barely dispelling the terrifying fire dragon. Don't move, I can't guarantee the safety of your head if you are moving. Suddenly, Uchiha Itachi, holding a sharp kunai, appeared behind Cracker and put it on his neck. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Report. 27%. Chapter 203. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Charlotte Cracker swallowed hard, with a shocked look on her face, completely unaware of what was going on. How is it possible? I turned on observation haki, how could you sneak into my back without me noticing? Dare to attack me, despicable. Charlotte Cracker naturally doesn't know that Uchiha Itachi's Mangekyo Sharingan is very terrifying, possessing powerful illusions, and it is easy for people to fall into it without knowing it. This is where Itachi is great. HMPH, just you, I don't need a sneak attack, I just let you fall into my illusion, idiot, when you were fighting outside, you were in the illusion, and you didn't notice it with your strength. It is also normal. Uchiha Itachi looked at Charlotte Cracker indifferently, with the kunai in his hand resting on his neck, and the sharp blade against his skin. As long as he dared to move, Uchiha Itachi could cut his throat instantly. In the final analysis, your perception is too weak. If your perception is as strong as Katakuri, I won't be so easy. Uchiha Itachi said calmly. For the use of illusion 15 arts, he can be said to have an innate and powerful talent. Even in the entire Naruto world, his illusion skills are definitely the top person, so few people can hide. Through the illusion that he launched with all his strength. I saw the dark red Mangekyo Sharingan in Uchiha Itachi's eyes slowly dissipating, and Cracker suddenly felt that there was something missing on his body. It was a spiritual feeling. Uchiha Itachi, don't be too smug. It was just me careless. If you dare to let go of me in a fight, I promise to beat you up. After Charlotte Cracker was controlled by Itachi, she still did not forget to clamor, and did not change the worst problems. Advertisement. Uchiha Itachi frowned slightly, raised his hand, and clasped Cracker's neck, then raised his hand and slapped it. Pop! Bang! Bang! 3 slaps on his face slammed Cracker's mouth fiercely, causing his entire face to swell, leaving a trace of bloodline at the corner of his mouth. Let you talk a lot of nonsense. As a loser, you should look like a loser. In the blind BB, I cut your tongue. Uchiha Itachi grabbed Cracker's neck with one hand, lifted him up in the air, looked at him indifferently and said. No, dare not. Forget it, can't you count me wrong? I gave up and gave up. Charlotte Cracker was caught in the neck by Weasel, and her entire face turned into pig liver color, and she hurriedly begged for mercy. Master, how to deal with this guy? I think he is very dishonest, or let it go. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Uchiha Itachi threw Cracker into Chin Luo's footsteps, then stepped on him with a cold voice. No, no, I'm one of Big Mom's favorite sons, you can't kill me, or my mother will be angry, killing me is not worth the loss. When Charlotte Cracker heard Itachi's suggestion, she was shocked and started to struggle frantically. But Uchiha Itachi exerted a slight force, and a strong force came from the feet that stepped on his heart. If he was moving, he would surely be crushed by himself, so that Cracker stopped struggling quickly and looked at Chin Luo pleadingly. Oh, you were defeated so soon, Cracker, what are you doing? Aren't you still clamoring? You want to kill me. Why? Advertisement. Tell you, even if Bigumam is here, I will kill if I want to kill you, and she can't help you, do you believe it? Chin Luo sneered at the Cracker at his feet. As long as he was willing, raising his hand now would be able to destroy them without any effort. Cracker looked at Chin Luo's indifferent eyes, and his whole body trembled. Now he realized that they provoke people who shouldn't be offended. Luyun is not afraid of any threats at all, and he is an uneasy person who plays cards. Originally, he thought that as the son of Bigumam, no one would dare to kill him, but now he has a feeling that if he doesn't cooperate well, Luyun may kill him at any time. Master Luyun, I was wrong. I didn't know good or bad, and I didn't know Taishan. I offended you. Please spare my life. After Charlotte Cracker heard what Chin Luo said, he almost cried. He was still young and didn't want to die, so he could only plead for mercy. Chin Luo was also slightly taken aback. He didn't expect this Cracker to be so embarrassed that he would directly ask for mercy. It seems that his mind is still a bit different compared to the future pirate with a 4 Admiral Star 800 million reward. Bang! At this moment, in the distance, Ninetales once again slapped Charlotte Katakuri, slamming him directly into the ground. Boy, don't resist, you are not the old man's opponent. If you play badly later, the boss must be a monster. Then, the huge claws of Ninetales fell from the sky and caught him in the palm of Katakuri's shocked eyes. Ninetales squeezed the Katakuri. No matter how hard the opponent was, they couldn't shake its palm at all. The Katakuri caught by Ninetales was like a small toy, held in the palm of his hand, making it impossible for the other party to escape. Advertisement. Hey, Uchiha boy, you beat your opponent before the old man. Are you provoking the old man? Humph, if the boss hadn't let me condense my strength and couldn't kill this boy, I would have solved this boy before you. Ninetales grabbed 590 Katakuri and walked to Chin Luo, looking at the Cracker at the foot of Uchiha Itachi, obviously not convinced. Obviously he was also very dissatisfied with the fact that he was one step slower than Uchiha Itachi to complete the task, so he could not help but argue a few words. Ninetales originally had a natural hostility to the Uchiha clan, so naturally he didn't want to lose to Uchiha Itachi, which would make him very uncomfortable. It's all doing things for the owner, and the task is complete. Where there is so much nonsense, slow is slow. Uchiha Itachi didn't care about Ninetales' mood at all, and said straightforwardly. Boy, don't be too mad, isn't it just a few seconds faster? Old man. Okay, okay, don't argue with Ninetales, it's all a family, so you can tell why you are making trouble, I will lock you up. Ninetales hadn't finished speaking yet, Shinluo felt interrupted, and asked him to continue. It is estimated that he is going to fight Uchiha. This fox is really not a worry-free lord. Doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo. At that moment, a telephone bug rang on Katakuri's body, and it was obvious that someone had called. Ninetales heard this voice, grabbed Katakuri directly, and hung his whole person upside down in the air, shaking vigorously. Soon, a phone worm fell from him, grabbed Shinluo Lingkong, and caught him. Chapter 204. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. When Shinluo grabbed the phone, he didn't even need to know who was calling. At this time, it was Charlotte Linlin. Holding the phone, Shinluo didn't think much about it, so he answered the phone. Katakuri, my son, what happened to what I asked you to do? Capone Beige, Charlotte Nins, are they both okay? Over there, Begum's sharp and unpleasant voice came. As soon as I heard the tone, she knew that she was very anxious. Capone Beige, Charlotte Nins. I killed those two wastes. Why, Begum, are you looking for their bodies? Shinluo smiled coldly, and said with a hint of teasing. For him, Big and Mom are just a little level big pirate, and there is still a big gap between them compared to 5 elders. He didn't even pay attention to 5 elders, not to mention Bigumum, he didn't pay much attention to it at all. If it weren't for the other party's usefulness to him, he would have killed it a long time ago. Suddenly hearing an unfamiliar voice sounded, Bigum was also slightly taken aback, but he soon reacted, his face sank, and his anger was already crawling on his face. Asshole, you're the Ryayun, right? You dare to kill my Big Mom's son. Are you impatient? Humph, although Beiji is useless, his nuts are not that way even if I shoot it's easy to break, you don't want to lie to me. Advertisement. After hearing Shinluo's voice, Bigumamu quickly heard who the owner of this voice was, that is Luyun, the mysterious Luyun. However, although Luyun is a very strong person in the legend, but in the view of Beguma, he is only a pirate of 5 or 6 billion at best. It can only have a special ability, and it cannot be that easy to kill Capone Beige. That's right. Oh, you dare to say that I am too impatient, Bigum, do you want me to go over and find you to settle the account now? I tell you, not only Capone Beige and your son are dead, but your 2 sons now, also fell into my hands. Shinluo hugged Peach Rabbit with one hand and pinched her waist, causing a burst of dissatisfaction from the other party, but he didn't care, and continued to pretend to be serious and talking on the phone with Bigumum. What, is it that Katakuri and Cracker were also caught by you, how are they now? Impossible, their strength is stronger than Capone Beige, but not weaker, how could they be caught by you, or are you teasing me? Inside the phone, Beguma's angry roar came, his voice was so sharp and harsh, it shook his surroundings. The situation in the surrounding Murloc Street was so frightened that he didn't even dare to show up, and he looked at Shinluo with a trace of worry. Comparing Paikumum, he is one of the top pirates in this sea. Even the existence of Whitebeard dare not provoke them. Although Shinluo is powerful, it is impossible to fight against that kind of pirates, right? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Since you don't believe me, then I will let your son say a few words to you in person. Shinluo said with a sneer. Then, he gave Ninetales a look. Let that kid say a few words, it's better to be more exciting. Since Charlotte Linlin doesn't believe it, let her listen to the voice of his beloved son. Ninetales received Shinluo's eyes, and suddenly realized, showing a sinister and evil smile. Advertisement. Boy, say a few words to your mother and let him know how comfortable you are now. Ninetales said, the dark red chakra in his hand turned into a long whip, slammed on Katakuri's body severely, and a bunch of blood spattered on his back. Katakuri let out a scream of worry, a trace of blood spewed from his mouth, his face pale. He was originally a relatively cold personality, a brave and strategic person, but facing Ninetales' chakra whip, the piercing pain not only made him show a trace of fear. He didn't realize until now that Luyun and this group of people were actually doing things more hotter than them, and ruthless, and it was really bad for them to offend them for 8 lifetimes. Hurry up. Let's talk about it, but there will be no chance. Ninetales squeezed Katakuri fiercely, and said with a smirk. Looking at Ninetales' sharp teeth and the fierce look in his eyes, Katakuri finally gave up resistance, showing a trace of decadence. Mom, it's me, and I'm your son Katakuri. Both Cracker and I were caught by them. They are both strong. We are not their opponents. Also, Capone Bej and Charlotte Nins are indeed it was killed by them, and now the bodies of the two of them are still hung at the intersection of Murlock Street. Mom, you must call the shots for us. These are so cruel, they don't put you in your eyes at all. At the end of the talk, Kata Curry almost started crying. It was the first time he had met such a helpless and powerful person as Chin Luo when he grew up. He has fallen into their hands since then. Hearing Kata Curry's cry, Big finally let out an angry roar. The anger seemed to burn Chin Luo to death through a phone worm. Facing Big anger, the surrounding pirates and residents of Murlock Street shivered with shock. Advertisement. Charlotte Linlin is notoriously strong in revenge. If, because of this, launch a revenge against Murlock Street, without Chin Luo, no one can resist it. Big I warn you, no matter how angry you are, it is useless to me. If you want to save your son, please expel the conditions that make my heart move, otherwise, what about you? My Charlotte Linlin's son, do you dare to kill too? On the other end, Big said completely angrily. Chin Luo couldn't help showing a mocking smile and said, Big others are afraid of you, I am not afraid of Luyun. Both your son and Capone Bej were killed by me. Are you killing too? I still care so much. Chin Luo did not report his real name, but continued to confuse Big as Luyun. He just wanted to let the people outside know that the Fisherman Street was covered by Luyun. As for what other people think, he can't manage that much. After hearing Chin Luo's words, Big on the other end of the phone fell silent. She doesn't care about other sons at all, and it doesn't matter even if they are killed, but Cracker and Kata Curry are different. Among her more than 100 sons and daughters, she is the best and one of the two most talented sons. In order to cultivate them, Big Mamu also paid a great price, and found suitable devil fruit for them, and slowly cultivated them, and spent a lot of effort. The two sons did not let her down either. They grew up very fast. Among the many sons and daughters, they were also very outstanding. She didn't want the two sons to die in Chin Luo's hands. Well, what do you want? State your terms. After being silent for a while, although Big voice was already sharp and unpleasant, it was obvious from the tone that she was already a bit subdued. Chapter 205. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Hearing the soft voice of Bagu Mamu, Chin Luo couldn't help showing a smile of Jeju in his hand. He knew that Big was definitely reluctant to let his two precious sons die so easily. After all, to gain a firm foothold in New World, you don't need to rely on a single person, and you need to have capable personnel who can use it. At present, if Big loses these two amazing potential sons, the strength of the Big and Mom pirate group, it will also be greatly reduced and be severely damaged. If this were the case, it would be difficult for his forces to want to sail with forces like the Whitebeard pirates, and would be overwhelmed. This is something that Big is unwilling to face. Chin Luo calculated this accurately before he caught Kata Curry and Cracker and threatened Paikumamu. After all, in the current pirate world, Big and Whitebeard are still one of the strongest pirate forces. Except for the accident of Roger and Golden Lion, they should be the strongest. Such a big pirate must have very rich possessions, and Chin Luo will naturally not let go of such blackmail opportunities. The conditions are very simple, just 3 points. Chin Luo showed a smug smile, looked at the hateful eyes of Kata Curry and Cracker, and didn't put it on him at all. 717. Advertisement. 3 conditions. Your kid is a bit too greedy, aren't you afraid to die? When Begum heard Chin Luo's mouth, there were 3 conditions, and he roared in anger. He was really a very shameless person, he was simply a robber. At this time, the villagers in Fishman Street, the surrounding islands, criminals, and even the Peach Rabbit in his arms all looked at Chin Luo in shock. Guru. Raya Yun God is too mighty hockey, he dared to negotiate terms with Begum so blatantly, and he proposed 3 at once, which is really amazing. Yeah, this is obviously the lion's big mouth, and only Flowing Cloud God can dare to be so overbearing. If you change to someone else, you must have been wiped out by the Bigum group long ago. The god of flowing clouds deserves to be the patron saint of the Fishmen Island, and he will be my only faith in the future. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. At this time, everyone around heard the conversation between Chin Luo and Bigumum, and everyone took a breath at the same time. Looking at Chin Luo, there was a lot of admiration. This is the patron saint of the Fishmen Island. No one is afraid, no one will give any face to them. It's too awesome. Will I die? Don't worry about it. Just ask if you agree or not. If you don't agree, I will tear up the ticket and kill your son right away. How about shooting and breaking up? Chin Luo sneered, without showing any face to Bigumamu, and Haki went back directly. Hearing Lu Yun's faceless words, Bigumamu suddenly became angry with Chichao. If it weren't too far away, she really wanted to split Lu Yun and unload him. This was really irritating. It was the first time in so long that someone dared to ignore him so much. This was completely tore her face. Advertisement. No, her son is in someone else's hands, and she has no choice but to make a request for perfection temporarily. Well, tell me, if I can accept it, the deal can be negotiated. If you touch my bottom line, even if I fight with you, I won't let you get what you want. After all, Paikumamu is a bloody violent female demon. Facing Lu Yun's threat, she doesn't want to be pinched by her nose completely. After all, she is a famous big pirate, plus there are many elite soldiers and powerful generals under her hands. It's a big deal, and it breaks up, and it hurts both. She also dared. No matter what she thought of, Qin Luo couldn't help but squeeze the softness, flesh of the peach rabbit's waist with pride, showing a successful smile on her face. Taotu was so tempted by Qin Luo that he immediately hammered his shoulder angrily, but the strength was soft, not aggressive, obviously not really angry, just shy. Tsunade, who was standing behind Qin Luo, suddenly felt a little bit irritable. She stood behind and gave Qin Luo a massage. It was good for the two of them. They flirted and cursed directly in front of him. It really made her want to be cruel. Take a bite of Qin Luo and take revenge on Qin Luo's impulse. It's very simple, the first condition. I want to announce one thing. Qin Luo said. said. What's the announcement? Qin Luo said with a smile. That is, in the future, Fishman Street will be my private territory of Lu Yun, and other forces are not allowed to intervene in everything here. I know that you used to be the master behind the Fishman Street. Sorry, I will change the owner in the future. You can no longer intervene in things here, can you do it? Qin Luo did not hesitate, and directly stated his first condition. Although he doesn't announce this, as long as he is on Murloc Street, nothing will happen, but he can't always stay here. As long as the former owner of Baguma, the Murloc Street, exits and announces that this is his Lu Yun site, there will be a lot less trouble, and other pirates will not dare to come here to make trouble. You know, where even Bigumamu announced his withdrawal, other little trash fish wouldn't dare to come here to make trouble. Advertisement. Yes, tell me your second condition. When you release my two sons, I will immediately announce to the public that Murloc Street is where you are flowing clouds. After being silent for a while, Baguma agreed to this condition. For her, losing a sight on Murloc Street is nothing at all. In fact, what she cares most is the Yang Tree sap in Murloc Street. It is the reason she has been occupying here. The Yang Tree sap from Murloc Street is the essence of Baoshu Eve. It is one of the main ingredients for making top desserts, and it is also her favorite. However, over the years, she has accumulated a lot of Sun Tree sap, enough for her to use for another year or a half. When it is used up, she can just come over and grab the Murloc Street, which is not a big loss. Seeing that Bigumamu agreed, Qin Luo was not surprised, and continued to put forward the following conditions. My second condition is similar to the third one, so I will put it forward together. Qin Luo slowly said. Bigumamu roared. Say it quickly, don't chirp, it's a waste of time for my old lady. Facing Bigumamu's roar, Qin Luo didn't move at all. He smiled calmly and said, it's very simple. Give me 20 devil fruits and 1,500 barrels of Yang Tree sap. This is me. The last two conditions. As long as you agree to these conditions, I will let your son go. How about reuniting your mother and son? Hearing Qin Luo's last two conditions, Bigumamu couldn't help but become angry. He could no longer suppress the anger in his heart and screamed loudly. Little devil, are you looking for death? This condition is too big for your appetite, so you can just strengthen it. My old lady doesn't have so many devil fruit and Yang Tree sap. You can kill those two unsatisfactory beasts. My big mom pirate group will not hesitate to declare war with you. Paikumamu was really fulfilled by Qin Luo's last two conditions. I didn't expect Qin Luo to dare to open such a big mouth. This is nothing short of blackmail. Chapter 206. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. A smile appeared on Qin Luo's lips, and the breath on his body quickly cooled. Bigumamu, do you really naively think that I am negotiating terms with you? Baiji Mamu only felt cold in his back. Qin Luo Chuiyu's figure gradually glowed with blue light, and a world-breaking coercion descended on him. He was a leader like Baiji Mamu, and listened to his slight coercion. The voice didn't even shrink his neck. What do you mean? The latter clenched his fists, and his huge body trembled. Believe it or not, I can not only kill your 2 sons, but also bring you a piece to bury. Qin Luo tilted his head, with a bloodthirsty smile on his lips, his pupils changed frantically, and finally stopped. Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan's bright red eyes flickered, piercing into the heart of Bigumum, and the coquettishness that was revealed tightly entangled the hearts of everyone present. This man. It is terrible. Bai Ji Yu Ma's heart was trembling, and an inexplicable fear was rising. This was the force of coercion, but Bai Ji Yu Ma didn't even know it. She glanced behind her, and there was still a group of people who followed her, but she couldn't be ashamed in front of them. 10 devil fruits. Bigu Mamu gritted his teeth and shouted out the terms of compromise, glaring at Qin Luo. Oh, 10. Qin Luo dismissed it. Speaking of which, Bigumum and 5 elders are really incomparable. After all, the latter was blackmailed out by Qin Luo for hundreds of devil fruit. As for Bigumum, only 10 of them were bargaining, which caused Qin Luo's irritation. Of course, this is also how Qin Luo has reached a certain height. Devil fruit is on the grand line. People with some means can ask for one, which is enough for them to ruin their family. Advertisement. You are some kind of mom pirate group anyway, such a little thing is not enough to stuff your teeth, and you are not afraid of jokes when you say it. Qin Luo's relentless ridicule caused a fever on Bai Ji Yu Mamu's face. This king. He really thinks devil fruit is not a resource. 10 without a counter offer, who else can shoot so generously in this piece of sea? Bai Ji Yu Mamu hated it. Even though he was as powerful as Whitebeard, he did not dare to threaten him so easily. This Qin Luo was really ambitious. Baguma quickly cares about gains and losses in his heart. How about it? Have you considered it? Qin Luo was a little lazy, and her big hand took advantage of Taotu's gripping waist, causing her to cry out in embarrassment. Okay. 20 devil fruits, no price increase. Free my 2 unsatisfied sons to my mother immediately. Bai Ji Yu Mamu gritted his teeth, and a pair of gloomy eyes burst with hatred as if he wanted Qin Luo to be swallowed up alive to relieve his anger. Can you not get angry? I was thinking of leaving some yang tree sap to relieve my greed, but now everything was scoured by this man. Facing the compromise of Paikumamu, Qin Luo looked indifferent. Looking back at the crowds below, all of them stared with big eyes. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Ans. I agree. I really agree. One of the murlocs opened his mouth wide, and was surprised that the halberd in his hand fell to the ground. 20 devil fruits. 20. Worthy of being the god of flowing clouds. So many of us have never seen one. Even Big Mom dare not think about the Fishman Island anymore, we are completely equal. The cheers below one after another, Qin Luo appeared like a savior, bringing the atmosphere of the Fishman Island to its climax. Behind Tsunade saw Qin Luo's back look weird. How many secrets are there in this man? Invisibly, how many people did he save? Advertisement. Thinking about it, there was an abnormal blush on his face. Naturally, Qin Luo has no way of knowing Tsunade's careful thinking. After a while, 20 devil fruits were brought by the pirates of the Big Mom pirate group and presented in front of them. Qin Luo glanced at it and accepted as many. Bigumum, who was on the phone, endured the pain, returned Katakuri and Cracker to the old lady. Qin Luo turned his head and signaled that Nine Tails could uncover the strip of cloth stuffed into Katakuri's mouth. Mom, save me. Katakuri's voice was deafening. These people are really terrible. Especially the fox in front of you. Unbelievable, the boss of this fox, but the one who compromised even his mother. How strong is his strength? After Katakuri was loosened, he became flexed and kicked out of the house by Nine Tails. What are you doing? Quickly let the cracker go. Katakuri yelled, resisting the fear in his heart, and Bigum on the phone was furious, flowing clouds. My old lady respects you for your extraordinary strength, but you don't even think about playing tricks with my old lady. I have already given you what you want. Put the cracker out soon. Qin Luo tilted his neck and twisted, noisy. His eyes were extremely cold, seeming to be inlaid with ice. Biguma, have you forgotten something? Paused. It seems that your brain is not very good, then I will reluctantly mention you. Quote. The 2 conditions I want, you only complete the last one, and for the remaining son, you have to wait for you to complete the first one. Qin Luo said that the clouds were light and the wind was light, but he jumped up and down with anger. This monkey, over and over again, is clearly teasing her. Although Baguma gritted her teeth, she is completely passive now. Since she has given up devil fruit, there is no need to care about this matter. Advertisement. I know, the news will spread to the Grand Line soon. In the future, my people in Charlotte will never move the Fishman Island anymore. I hope you Chin Luo can believe in your words. If you break your promises and get fat, my mother the pirates under the hood are not vegetarians. Chin Luo could hear her strong hatred in the earpiece, and smiled gently. That's natural, I'm not like you, I still don't care about 2 lackeys. Baguma was annoyed to throw the phone worm, but due to the final step of the transaction, he had to endure the tremor all over. Come on, let me let the news out for my old lady. After a while, Charlotte Linlin told the Fishman Island to keep the well water from the river. The news spread across several islands in an instant. This news is still going farther and faster. After Chin Luo received the report, he nodded in satisfaction and waved his hand, indicating that they would also release the Cracker. Did you really let us go? Cracker obviously hadn't recovered. Chin Luo sneered, I don't care if you want to stay and pick up shoes for me. No, I'm going now. After saying that, Cracker quickly rushed to Katakuli's side, helping each other. It's too slow to use, so I might as well send it to you. After Chin Luo said, a sly smile floated on his lips, lifted his toes, and kicked them hard on their waists. Katakuri and Cracker were kicked far away in an instant. Everyone condensed, and after a short while burst into fanatical cheers. Chapter 207. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Lu Yunshan is really amazing. Not only did the Charlotte family scare away, I also got 20 devil fruit. This time even Big Mom dare not infringe the Fishman Island. We are equal. Chin Luo's mouth was filled with a faint smile. If he said that he was excited, it would be better than a pair of waves around his arm, and laughed again and again. You are so, too powerful. Chin Luo lowered her head and squeezed her face. Allow you to worship me for a while. Tsunade looked behind him for a while without feeling, and there was a trace of envy in the peach and rabbit flooding in his eyes. It's the king. King Neptune is here. After a few rough drinks, Chin Luo turned his head, and Neptune walked here with huge steps. Lu Yunshan. He owed his body. Old man. Chin Luo narrowed his narrow eyes. What? The old man is grateful for everything Lu Yun God has done to the Fishman Island. Neptune shook his huge body and smiled flatteringly. What are you grateful for? Chin Luo moved the coconut and smiled. The god of flowing cloud is really burying the old man. Now the Fishman Island is owned by the god of flowing cloud, and the old man has all the god of flowing cloud. Neptune's complexion made Chin Luo smile. You old man is really boring. The old man prepared a banquet in the Dragon Palace and sincerely invites the god of flowing clouds to go to the banquet. A smile bloomed on Neptune's face. Advertisement. Chin Luo drew his ears. Let me see the time, I'm very busy. Everyone was silent. In the Fishman Island, only Flowing Cloud God could refuse King Neptune's invitation. As the night sings and songs, Tautu compares her clothes in front of the dressing mirror. Chin Luo waits for Tautu to change her clothes before slowly saying, I don't plan to go to the banquet tonight. Why? Aroused everyone's surprise. Master, are you really going to refute Neptune's face? Ninetails jumped over and looked at Chin Luo. He is the god of flowing clouds, what a Neptune is. Tsunade was disdainful, embracing the waves in his chest with both hands. Chin Luo snapped his fingers. I want to eat too, but we have other plans tonight. What plans do we have? Even Tsunade couldn't help being curious, showing how deep Chin Luo is. Our plan. Chin Luo deliberately increased his voice and paused every word. Attack Impel down. What? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Push. Impel down. If you are shocked, I am afraid that only Tautu understands the mystery. Is Impel down great? Peach Rabbit, why are you so surprised? Ninetails was curious. Tautu straightened up his face. With a serious tone, Impel down is one of the 3 main locations of Marine headquarters, and there are countless outstanding abilities among them. It has always been an important place for detaining hostile pirates, and there is no shortage of escapes. Or prisoner, but survivors. 0. This value is terrible. There are countless masters on this grand line. No one can be saved from Impel down. It is said that on the last level of Impel down, most of the criminals held are legendary figures of the Grand Line. Even they are imprisoned in the endless abyss and will never be reborn. Ninetails listened to Tautu's description, licking the fangs on her lips. Is that really amazing? Advertisement. No, it's far more terrifying than what I described. It's personal purgatory. Tautu was stern, but although the description was extremely shocking, in the eyes of the crowd, they didn't care. After all, behind them, there is a godlike existence like Chin Luo. But, why should we enter Impel down? Tsunade raised a point. Chin Luo nodded and cleared his throat before he said, Yes, what kind of city? On the Grand Line, it is really such a good thing. Let's go this time to save Hedan. Hedan. Everyone was suspicious. How could he impel down? He was defeated by 5 elders and thrown into impel down. Qin Luo said concisely. Isn't it? Hedan is such a weak chicken. Tsunade couldn't believe it, but he believed Qin Luo's words without surprise. Ha ha ha, I said why he didn't dare to come back for so long. In the end, Devil Fruit didn't get it and was defeated by 5 old men. Ninetails burst into a frantic laugh, clutching his stomach. The group clashed again for a while. Qin Luo summoned people secretly to prepare the boat, originally just wanted to go alone, but couldn't hold back the enthusiasm of the crowd. Ninetails, look at Hedan's joke, how can I lose my Yaha? Taotu looked expectant, I want to see Luyun impel down. Tsunade squeezed his fist silently, as if saying that if you dare not bring your old lady, you must be an eunuch on the spot. So a warship, taking advantage of the night, set off from the Fishman Island and bypassed the Chambord Islands. Flowing Cloud God, why should we go sneakily? Tsunade was incomprehensible on the boat. According to Qin Luo's strength, it would be easy to crush impel down, but now he has to attack in the dark, which is really difficult to understand. Qin Luo hooked her lips, if you hit a rat, you have to take advantage of the night. Advertisement. Qin Luo used the Overlord of the Sea to protect him, and in a flash, he reached the stage of impel down. A marine dressed in a seagull suit called out, who are you? This is impel down. Don't trespass. Qin Luo was too lazy to face the crowds, and the pressure on his body was instantly revealed, shaking the little marine to the ground on his knees. Strong. It is too strong. There is no room to fight back at all. Little Marine resisted the horror in his heart, and asked Qin Luo in a trembling voice, where are you guys? It's just that before the words are finished, there is another coercion, and he can't breathe. Little Marine can't make a sound in pain, as if a big hand is holding his neck. Qin Luo used the universal pull to float Marine in midair, and Marine finally saw Qin Luo's figure on the battleship. He was dressed in a black robe, red clouds on his body, and a mask on his face. It's Luyun. He is Luyun. Marine's eyesight cracked. Qin Luo's complexion was suppressed by the pressure of his aura alone. He had no doubt that as long as Qin Luo stayed here for a while, he might die at any time. Open the door. Qin Luo gave unsatisfactory orders, but Marine was agitated. He tried his best to open the door of impel down, but after a while, his body suddenly loosened. The battleship of Flowing Cloud God has long disappeared before impel down. Marine picked up the phone worm like crazy and called out the inner center of gravity, no, it's not bad. Impel down is coming. Defend. Hurry up and call them to defend. He panted wildly, looking at the endless sea outside the watchtower with lingering fears. The night was heavy and the sea was surging. It's terrible, this man, Luyun. No one can beat him. Impel down, it's going to fall. Hello. What did you say? What's the fall? Lieutenant General Marine. The phone worm was still shouting, but the previous Marine sank suddenly. Chapter 208. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Marine leaned forward. Ninetails' mouth was full of murderous intent, and then turned back to the ship. The Marine reported the news of our arrival to the Defense In-Depth Department. Ninetails showed the white fangs between her lips, it's going to be a big job. Qin Luo was calm, his red and dark robe made him look more handsome, and the corners of his mouth curled up strangely, it's not enough to deal with these things. As the warship deepened, a large number of Marines spewed out of impel down, along with dozens of warships. The Marine flag was raised in the air, and Qin Luo's ships were besieged in an instant, as if it had become a Shura field. Luyun, I advise you to surrender as soon as possible. Our impel down is no more powerful than the shrimp soldiers and crabs on the Chambord Islands. If you dare to take a step forward, your legend of Luyun will soon be wiped out. Faced with such a provocation, Qin Luo narrowed his eyes, and his lips were full of irony. You are very courageous, it's a pity. He amplified his voice, and the gravity of Vientiane suspended the Marine who was yelling loudly in the air, panicking underneath. Luyun, what are you going to do? Bold. Lieutenant General will be released soon. What kind of trick is this? Qin Luo's thin lips 13 lightly opened, and a bloodthirsty killing intent appeared in his eyes. It's a pity, too weak. After the words, the lieutenant's body exploded in an instant, and the red blood splashed on the ship's board. The Marines on the dozens of battleships were so surprised that they opened their mouths. Real. Advertisement. It's horrible. One of them, Marine, took the lead in provoking words, which aroused the horror of the crowd. This man, what exactly is his strength? He didn't even move his fingers, but, so easily beheaded Lieutenant General Helion. Qin Luo's eyes were like ice. If the people below knew that Qin Luo hadn't done anything at all, the pressure on him would make the Marine lieutenant blow himself up, fearing that it would make a crazy wave. Then Luyun must have eaten some strange devil fruit. Don't be frightened by his ability. He is a capable person. Let's attack him with Seastone. Another lieutenant wearing a shirt roared. His words successfully restored the minds of a bunch of people. Yes, it's just a flowing cloud. We are no better than the rubbish in the shampoo place. Go. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. A group of Marines deceived him, and Tautu looked very clearly behind him. A group of despicable guys, guessing that the boss is capable, they all wear Seastone weapons. Oh, how can the power of the boss be contaminated by those capable people? Tsunade smiled contemptuously, her golden hair surging secretly with the night breeze, and her red lips lightly opened. 9 tails. Okay, we will compare later. Among these Marines, which one of us has won the most? Tsunade's words are extremely soft, but he does not consciously ooze a bit of chill. In addition to his own deterrence, there is also a part of getting along with Qin Luo. The reason. You are determined to lose. 9 Tails grinned with a mouthful of white fangs, and just stepped onto one of Marine's battleships in an instant. The claws pounced on the 2 Marines, and the powerful force connected to the group behind him. Catch flying. Good. So strong. When did he arrive on the boat? Advertisement. Impossible. Our Marine ship is protected by a prison film. How did he rush in? A group of Marines were full of fear, but the only answer to them was the sharp claws of 9 Tails. It's terrible. They are too strong. Marine on the other battleship side. What the hell? I'm frustrated before the fight. How did Lousy teach you? The Lieutenant General gave him a thrill. His shirt was a little bleak in the night, his sturdy wrist pinched Marine's neck. It's F-King good for Lousy. If anyone says more useless words to disturb the military's mind, such as this person. With a click, the Marine didn't open his eyes again. Marine bit his scalp and shouted, "Big, everyone is on. It's just a floating cloud. We are Marine, the glory of death." Before the words fell, a fragrant scent of wine fell on the board of the ship. Who is drinking? Will drank in the rolling curtain. Tsunade tucked up her long blonde hair, and her red lips in the night were particularly attractive, and a weird smile filled the corners of her mouth. It's me. You, how did you break through the prison membrane? The Marines suddenly became distracted. Hey, who am I? I'm just a lady, call you old Luyun. Grandpa beats him to his knees and licks. The curtain raised the broad axe in his hand, and the vigor of the lieutenant was revealed. The laughter was unbroken, and a heavy blow fell on his hard abdomen, and he was instantly knocked off in the rolling curtain, fluttering like a feather, and being blown away, hitting the ship's board but dented a large human-shaped pit, visible force great. Roll. Roll curtain Admiral. Tsunade's long, slender legs stepped on the belly of the roller blind, and she fluffed up her long blonde hair, sighing like a blue, clean your mouth for the old lady. You don't need the boss to take a shot against you scumbags. After speaking, Tsunade's feet exerted strength, and he forced the body of the Lieutenant General of the roller blind to go deeper. The dense spider streak spread instantly on the wooden deck of the ship. Advertisement. Tsunade was disdainful. If Qin Luo did this kick, the whole ship would sink to the bottom of the sea in a moment. In less than a moment, dozens of Marine warships were wiped out instantly under the search of Tsunade and 9 Tails. The moonlight was like frost, shining on the battleship at the front of Impel Down, as if wearing a silver coat, the corpse of Marine on the ground, called people can't avoid heart trembling when they see it. Boss, Marine has been destroyed as many times as possible. 9 Tails jumped in front of Qin Luo, and the killing spirit 390 on his body was instantly put away. Me too. Tsunade walked over gracefully, facing 9 Tails. I destroyed 11 warships. I am also 11. It is too few and totally not addictive. The two talked eloquently, and the fish that had slipped through the net threw themselves on the ground pretending to be dead, and their hearts couldn't help wiping out tears. These monsters. These are all 22 warships. Even a pirate with a bounty of more than 100 million dared not be sure to win the next warship. It was so easily resolved. How powerful is this Luyun? While 9 Tails and Tsunade were arguing about who killed more people, Qin Luo smiled sarcastically. There is a fish that slipped through the net. Didn't you find out? As soon as Qin Luo's words came out, Marine, who was on the ground pretending to be dead, trembled uncontrollably, and the fear in his heart swallowed him. Qin Luo approached step by step, and when he was about to approach, Marine quickly got up and ran into Impel Down hysterically. Floating clouds and flowing clouds are here to slaughter Marine. Hurry up. Tell Lord Golora, Marine yelled. Tautu moved forward to chase, but was stopped by Chin Luo calmly. No, let him go to vent the news and bring out their leader. The footsteps of a group of people fell to the ground, and the night hung lonely in the sky. Nine Tails said, "The Marine just survived from the warship you killed, so I won." Chapter 209. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Who am I? It turned out to be flowing clouds. I looked up for a long time. A rough shout came, but he could not see him. Tsunade's enchanting eyes narrowed, and he said, "Who is it? Pretend to be there. Get out of the old lady. I came out long ago. Can't you see me? Prisoner." It was the voice again, hoarse and misty around. Tautu straightened up. "Who is your prisoner? Come out. Don't irritate the boss." "Guardian Golora, you are still being ignored as always." A person walked out from the depths of the prison, with a black robe added to his body, a pair of pointed horns, pointed ears, and a sausage mouth on the top of his head. "Shut up. Magellan, you ridicule my figure again, I will let you go right away. Until then." A small sound and shadow appeared in front of everyone. He was roughly the Galola warden in Magellan's mouth. It's just like a tiny flea, if you don't look closely, you can't see it clearly. "Are you Golaula?" Tautu poked her neck out with a look of surprise. "Yes, I'm the warden of Golaula, and Impel Down is my place." Golora stood up with a weird smile. "Are you a peach rabbit? A traitor to Marine?" Tautu's complexion changed. "What did you say?" Just in time, Chin Luo's deep voice and expression came, indifferent as ice. "My man, it is not my turn to be forced by a flea." As soon as Chin Luo's words came out, it was full of deterrence and frightening. "This is the full strength of your Impel Down. It's really disappointing. I actually sent a flea to be the warden." Advertisement. Presumptuous. How can Warlord Golora be slanderable? Magellan jumped out. The venom on his body was comparable to sulfuric acid, dripping on the ground and splashing with a sound of erosion. "It's just that none of you present showed fear. Ha ha ha. The god of flowing clouds from the mermaid is really humorous, it's just." Golora's ground fell suddenly, and then quickly flew up. "Just don't look down on fleas too much, you will die miserably." Golora's blow used armament hockey, and a strong foot wind brought the wind, and even the peach rabbit standing by the side could not help but trembled in his heart. But Chin Luo was an ordinary person. Facing Galora's attack, he turned his head indifferently. Golora hit the boulder in front of the Impel Down sea area, and the boulder was torn apart in an instant. "Oh, it's better than those shrimp soldiers and crabs." Chin Luo tilted his head, and then a bloodthirsty smile appeared at the corners of his mouth. Xiao Yu's posture slammed forward, and rushed forward with his feet, pushing the entire city into the door. "The doors are all destroyed. What a strength." Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Magellan swallowed, and a big mouth couldn't close in surprise. "The foot strength is a bit more powerful, just to deal with me, Golaula. I am afraid it is not enough." Golaula just jumped and landed on the ceiling of the cell. His figure soared hundreds of times, and the whole cell was covered. His soaring muscles shattered, and the gravel Gragla moved towards the sea. Guardian Golora, the deployment chief of Impel Down, is famous for consuming big fruits, and his strength is fast, but his reputation in Marine's mouth is not very good, so he was sent to Impel Down as the chief prison guard. Tautu explained to the side. She only slightly heard of Glaora's reputation when she was a Marine. Jay, Galola Warden. Magellan's frightened nose flew. He has been the deputy director for so many years. When has he seen Golora exert so much energy to deal with a person? Advertisement. Even when Charlotte Linlin's people came, the warden Galola just became the size of a prison door, and then repelled the entire Charlotte family. How terrible is this flowing cloud? Even the warden Galola was so afraid that he would fill the size of a cell. If Magellan knew that even Bigumum had been blackmailed by Chin Luo of Devil Fruit, I wouldn't be surprised why Golora became so big. And Laura's figure is still growing. Nine Tails first bared her teeth, raised her tail behind her, showing danger. "What Laura? It's just a bigger flea. When I go up there will be he." After the words, as fast as lightning, Hockey's kick was so fast that it even caught the flames and hit Golora's huge muscles directly. It's just that the 9 tails that went there were like fluttering feathers, bounced back by Galora's muscles. "What's the matter with you, 9 tails? You can't even deal with fleas." Tsunade stepped up to the front with disdain, and at the same time he looked at Golaula in front of him, his body swelling rapidly, fearing that he might have some strength. Mistakes. 9 tails sneered, his face feeling unnatural. "Ihahaha, our warden Golora is the only descendant of the Ulala tribe. With your little carving skills, let's go home and play in the mud. Magellan mocked wantonly, the venom from the tip of his teeth dripped down his saliva. Ulala. Tautu's complexion condensed. Peach Rabbit, what is the Urala tribe? Tsunade asked without ever leaving the Golora in front of him. The Ulala tribe is one of the races left over from ancient times, but it is said to have been extinct 30 years ago. The body is as small as a flea, and its muscles can bounce everything. It is said to be comparable to the power of popping fruit. It is theirs. One of the racial talents. Tautu answered with a solemn expression. Advertisement. Ha ha ha, what am I supposed to be? Ninetails laughed contemptuously. It turns out that this flea was described as a flea in ancient times, ha ha. The serious atmosphere just now was disturbed by Ninetails' few words, and Tsunade and others all laughed like silver bells. Glaeora's face sank. Hee hee, it's really rare to see such a happy smile on my own death date. Accompanied by Galora's angry roar, a powerful wrist attacked, and the Tsunade Ninetails and others on the ground were talking and laughing, but it was only a moment of effort to escape his attack. The ground of Impel Down was smashed into a 5-meter deep pit by Golora, and the powerful palm wind hit the sea while the night was dark, causing a wave of waves. The fleas are showing off. Tsunade sighed and sighed charmingly, and then folded to Galora's back, her long and slender legs raised her high. Let me see how elastic your muscles are. Bang! Tsunade's kick kicked Laura's muscles deep, and seeing her enchanting lips burst into a win-win smile, but at her feet, Laura burst out with ajagia, laughter. My heart trembled. Tsunade's complexion changed, and the muscles under her feet seemed to be alive, tightly entwining her delicate ankles, and could even feel a group of wandering creatures in the subcutaneous tissues gathering towards Tsunade. What? In response to Tsunade, Laura Gigi's weird smile was left in vain, and he hovered in the sky of Impel Down, seeming to swallow people's hearts. Chapter 210. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Don't come here, everyone, there is something weird about this Galora. Tsunade's expression changed, and he shouted at Ninetails who was about to rush. What's that? Tautu raised his head, his eyes were bright and twinkling. I saw Tsunade sinking into Golala's body bit by bit, as if to swallow her. I'll help you. Ninetails leapt and jumped onto the top of Galora's majestic muscles. The chakra in the body burst out suddenly, and the powerful pressure pulverized the gravel below, and then weathered it. What's the trick? Golora narrowed her eyes, leaning over the attack of Ninetails. The tail behind Ninetails resembled a precise navigator, and quickly adjusted its position, and then moved to Golala's side and cut it off. Shave. Golora quickly moved her position with her shave, and avoided Ninetails' attack. The original ground was trapped in a 20-meter crater due to the fatal blow of Ninetails, and the dust was flying. So fast. Standing on top of the sand, Ninetails narrowed his eyes tightly, and he rarely paid attention to Golora. I can't think of an Impel Down, it's really a crouching tiger, hidden dragon. Thank you. Golora laughed strangely, her muscles squirming quickly. If 217 didn't react fast enough, I might have really died on your foot. Advertisement. Glaeora's words sounded like praise at first, but they weren't. The inside was full of mockery of Ninetails. With a scornful smile at the corner of his mouth, he looked at Ninetails provocatively, as if to say, even if you were powerful. After all, I won't meet lousy. Ninetails was irritated by the look in his eyes, increasing chakras bursts, and a bloodthirsty smile burst out of the corners of his mouth. Interesting. On the other side, Tsunade was trapped on Galora's muscles, and a pair of long, white, thin legs were wrapped in the muscles. Strange, it's so flexible that there are living creatures inside, but why the muscles are as hard as steel? Before the words were over, Ninetails leapt high into the sky, all over the body, taking advantage of the moonlight's layer of cold frost. Like a god, in just a few seconds, the chakra in the palm gradually became a real thing. Powerful, the power of the sea even resonated with the sea, and there were continuous water jets leaping from the waves. Oh, a trick. Laura's smile expanded. With every step he took, the ground under his feet would sink a bit, and there were strange noises in his mouth. I saw Ninetails put his hands together, as if there was blue fluorescent protection on his body, struggling to rush down to the top of Galora's head. The coercion on his body is like a miracle, the sea water within 10 miles is boiling and surging. What's this trick? Magellan's legs softened, and she was overwhelmed by the powerful pressure of Ninetails. She sat paralyzed on the ground with a frightened face. The strong wind cut her face like a sword. Help, help. I don't want to die. That Ninetails is a lunatic. Who will save me? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Even Peach Rabbit was affected by Ninetails' remaining prestige. He resisted the discomfort in his heart and asked Qin Luo, "Boss, Ninetales suddenly released such a powerful force. Will it destroy this place?" Qin Luo's face was as water, moonlight pouring down his shoulders, and the riots in front of him didn't seem to affect him at all. The corners of his mouth raised a ruoyuruwu smile. Interesting. What's interesting? Taotu didn't answer his question. On the other hand, Laura, facing such a powerful attack from Ninetales, Yun Danfeng gently avoided, and the grunting voice on his body became more and more solemn. Even if your ability is so great, it is futile to not get close to my body. Galora's speed was extremely fast, and she left Ninetales' attack direction in a moment. Advertisement. Ninetales seemed to have expected it, but when he saw him avoiding it, she smiled. Guess that your monster will avoid it. Galora, you are asking for your death today. I saw chakra condensed in the palm of Ninetales, and quickly turned around. Before Go-Laura had dropped her foot, Ninetales leaned forward and dropped a fist into Go-Laura's body. The living creatures on her body began to move frantically. The strength was so great that even Tsunade could hardly resist. Galora's muscles were originally as hard as iron. Underneath Ninetales' palm, like a piece of soft rubber, a huge fist print was recessed along his palm, and blood spurted out. How come? Go-Laura Warden. With Magellan's heartbreaking roar, Golaula fell to the ground, stirring up a cloud of dust. You actually killed the Warden of Galola. No, impossible. Impossible. Magellan trembled crazily, and the bloodline poured out by Laura just fell on his shoulders, causing Magellan to cry and howl. You monsters. What is your purpose? Taotu breathed a sigh of relief and walked to Golaula. Ninetales, Tsunade, are you all right? As soon as the voice fell, Golora, who had been judged to be dead by everyone, moved her fingers swiftly. What? When Taotu could react in the future, he was taken into his arms by a strong arm and jumped to the other side. Old boss. Qin Luo was expressionless, standing on a high place surrounded by peach rabbits, looking at Galora who was limp on the ground. A few boiling grunts came out, and Galora instantly stood up with his huge body and mouth. Make a jealous smile. Advertisement. Gia ha ha ha. Little bugs, want to deal with me? The muscles on his body were shaking violently, as if a beast on a hunger strike was frantically absorbing food, and his body was gradually growing, and a thick liquid overflowed from his body. How? Peach Rabbit covered her lips. Golora is still alive, what about Tsunade and Ninetales? Laura turned around. The green skin behind it was like a toad, madly draining pus, and among them, the most conspicuous were the half-lengths of Tsunade and Ninetales, buried in them, but the two of them seemed exhausted and closed their eyes. Coma. Tsunade. Ninetales. Taotu jumped down from a high place, but the coercion around Galora was so terrifying that she couldn't get close at all. Out appeared the ultimate form of Warlord Golora. The legendary form. Saved ha ha ha. Magellan fell into a frantic state and fell to the ground, muttering in his mouth. Taotu stepped forward and grabbed his collar. What did you say? A trace of fear flashed in Magellan's eyes, and he immediately pushed Taotu away. Stay away from me. You monsters. Don't come near me. Taotu also seemed to endure to the limit. You tell me clearly. What is the origin of this Golaula? What has he done to Tsunade and Ninetales? Ha ha ha, it's useless. Magellan got up from the ground, her body gurgling out with venom. The Ulala family who was said to support the secret GU in the body. The more you attack, the Warlord Golora's body, the secret GU will become more active and will quickly eat away your attack power, and you will lose. As soon as the voice fell, Glaora started to stab and sizzle, as if he was about to swallow everything present. Chapter 211. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Boss, Tsunade and Ninetales are in his hands, what should I do? Now, Taotu has to ask Qin Luo for help. Galora's figure was already several times larger than before, and the green pus on his body quickly flowed out, causing it to boil as it reached the surface of the sea. Jayahaha, what Luyun God is, it's just rubbish. Golora turned around and stared at Qin Luo closely. Isn't it said that lousy is a flea? Why, how does it feel for two men to die in the hands of a flea? Golora provoked, smiling bloodthirsty. If you want to save your two men, now kneel on the ground and lick Lousy's toes, called Grandpa 3 times, and I just let go of those two wastes. How bold. Taotu couldn't hear him at first, and wanted to step forward to teach Galora, but was stopped by Qin Luo with one hand. Boss. He said that. Taotu was anxious. You can't beat him. Qin Luo's face was expressionless, and there was a hint of coldness in his eyes. Galola seemed very satisfied with his performance, and the jealous smile in his mouth was even worse. You have some self-knowledge. Wei paused. Magnellan. Magellan trembling in amazement. What's the warden? Now I want you to shake Luyan's rubbish ears until I'm satisfied. After saying that, the smile on his lips deepened. It's not so good. The warden. Magellan was obviously shocked by chakra from Ninetales just now. Just kidding, the power of one subordinate is enough for him to die hundreds of times. That Luyan might still be so tough. What? You don't even listen to me. Golora's voice revealed danger. Magellan's legs trembled. How dare, I will fight now. Advertisement. After he finished speaking, he walked to Chin Luo tremblingly and swallowed. Luyun, I will punish you on behalf of Warlord Golala now. Chin Luo's eyes turned cold suddenly, hitting Magellan, like an ice pool in the deep sea, making people chilly. Galola, Warden. I'm sorry. Magellan's legs were limped to the ground by Chin Luo's horrified look, and her eyes were full of panic. You better come and fight by yourself. After speaking, Magellan quickly rolled to the corner. Trash. Golora said in a deep voice, her muscles running quickly, making a grunting voice. Luyun, I want you to die today. Golala's palm lifted up, and a gust of wind blew up the red robe on Chin Luo's body. Chin Luo below his brows condensed, and the corners of his mouth curled up with a smile. In front of him, Golora's huge fists were moving away from him. Stopped at the centimeter. You two, what are you still playing? Chin Luo's voice was extremely weak, as if he was talking about an insignificant thing. The coercion in it was probably that only Golora in front of him could perceive it. When things are coming, you dare to be hard-headed, go to waste. It's just that before the voice has finished, the muscles on Golala's body swiftly circulate, and the grunting sound is getting stronger and stronger. How come? Glaora's complexion condensed, and just for a moment, two figures vacated from the strong muscles behind him, and the dark green pus erupted instantly, and as the two figures fell, rustling splashed on the ground. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. What? Impossible. Golora's figure quickly became smaller, and the huge roar was like a trembling sound wave, stirring the sea in the distance. Tsunade and Ninetales also jumped to the ground in the burst of pus. Boss. The two walked to Chin Luo's side. You two. How? Tautu was a little unbelievable and stepped forward. Advertisement. This Golala is really weird. People who are entangled with something inside can't move. Tsunade snorted, disdainfully. Indeed, Magellan said that there is a family secret GU in Golora, which seems to be able to devour human power. Tautu thoughtfully. Ninetales followed Tautu's words and extended. No wonder, when Chakra's condensed power hit him, it seemed to be counter-attracted, completely unable to move. Then how did you break through? Tautu was curious. It's the boss, Tsunade said. Originally, we were backlashed by Galora's power. We were awakened by the boss's voice and then counterattacked at the same time. That's it. While everyone was talking about it, they didn't realize that Chin Luo had already walked in front of Golala. Unexpectedly, you can wake up the people sleeping in me. I have to say that there are two things, but Golora wanted to stand up and fight again. Do you think this is the end? My Ulala people absolutely won't lose. The muscles on Golala continued to move at high speed, and when everyone thought he was going to make a comeback, Chin Luo smiled ironically on his lips. Zero seeking flowers. You are such a trick, show it to someone. Glaora's complexion condensed, and then became savage. You are looking for death. He shook his strong arm, obviously a bit fuller than before. Chin Luo undoubtedly flashed across his body, and the ground was sinking into a huge depression by this heavy blow. Flea, you should have the consciousness of a flea. Chin Luo's voice was flat, with one hand resting in front of Galora's forehead, and an overwhelming breath followed. The sea also stirred up layers of waves, followed by the tsunami, and violent storms. The sky above Impel Down was gray, like a layer of sand and stone, and black. What kind of power is this? Golora narrowed his eyes. At this time, he still didn't know what was waiting for him. Advertisement. A strong coercion struck him, with the power of destroying the world, seeming to swallow everything in the world, and then, an incomparable force from the Golora Baihui all the way down. Chin Luo's fist hit the top of his head, caused his whole body to shatter in an instant like being run over by dozens of big trucks. No. Surrounded by the reverberation, Galola burst into death in a moment. In the blink of an eye, a bright color floated in the sky, and layers of sunlight plundered away, shining above the floating dust of Impel Down. Everything was weirdly quiet. Golora. Dead. Tautu whispered softly, pulling everyone's thoughts back. Boss. So strong. Although it is not the first time that Shinluo is known about the power of Shinluo, even Tsunade couldn't help being shocked before facing such a tricky Ulala family. Shinluo solved it with just a fist, and he hadn't even used his strength. This is the real powerhouse. How can you be our boss if you are not strong? Taotu walked around Shinluo and flew away. The boss is too powerful, I will reward you with a hug. The peach and rabbit in her arms are soft and pleasant, and Shinluo smiles. I still need me to deal with this kind of stuff, you guys really have a good experience. Shinluo moved the coconut and said. Tsunade turned his head blush. If it wasn't for that flea's plot, how could my old lady be so easy to lose? Everyone's eyes fell back to Galora, leaving a pool of green pus on the ground. In this world, there are no more members of the Urala family. Report. 28%. Chapter 212. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The hero is forgiving. The hero is forgiving. Magellan touched his knees, and tremblingly begged Shinluo for mercy. Why is he injured too? Taotu was surprised. Magellan in front of him, the black horns on his head had been broken, his eyes oozing blood, and a pool of red blood underneath, shocking. Roughly the punch that the boss hit at Golaula was too swift, which caused him to be injured all over. Tsunade approached, showing disdain. Heroes, I'm just rubbish, don't care about me. Magellan's spirit has almost collapsed, and Golaula, who has always been regarded as a god by him, died in Shinluo's hands. Can you not be afraid? Where is Hidan? Ninetails stepped forward and grabbed his collar, baring his white teeth. Magellan's scared old tears burst into tears. What Hidan? Only the fake flowing cloud sent by 5 elders a while ago. At Eternal Hell, I beg you not to kill me, I can take you to find that Hidan. Eternal Hell. Taotu thoughtfully. Legendary Impel Down has only 5 hells, namely Red Lotus, Monster, Hunger, and Scorching. It is extremely cold. But where does this eternal hell come from? It's no wonder that Taotu didn't know it. This is also what the insiders of Impel Down meant. By concealing the place of ultimate detention, a lot of cholera can be avoided. It's the 6th floor. The 6th level of purgatory. Magellan shouted. The 6th floor. Taotu frowned slightly. It's the meaning of those old people. The 6th layer is set up to hide the eyes. The troublesome pirates are on that floor. Magellan was about to fall to the ground in horror. Tsunade's white ankles slammed on his back. What, the 6th floor? What an old thing. Can you just let Hidan out? Advertisement. Magellan burst into tears, her voice trembling. This eternal hell is so powerful that even internal personnel dare not approach easily. He doesn't have that ability, let's find it ourselves. Shinluo's calm voice came, and he stepped forward and kicked Magellan away. Magellan rolled several laps. As if being run over by a truck, Magellan vomited a mouthful of blood. It was just a light kick from Shinluo. Yes, boss. Ninetails leaned. Do you want to solve this weed or something? Shinluo's eyes rolled around. No need, a scumbag, just to inform the Marine headquarters, I am not that easy to bully. As soon as Shinluo spoke, Magellan on the ground shuddered, and immediately fell on the ground and pretended to be dead. Under Taotu's judgment, the group quickly arrived at Crimson Hell. They are full of red spikes. Everything in Crimson Hell is dazzling blood red. The top is full of spikes, densely covered with a whole layer, and there are black giant hairy spiders. Any creature that walks in will be covered by hairy spiders. After being chased, he finally died on the bright red spikes. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Prisoners at this level, even if they were not stabbed to death, could hardly escape the death of excessive blood loss. The smell of blood that touched the nose made Tsunade's face condensed. In addition to the bright red, only the white bones are left. It's really chilling. Save me. Ah. A sharp voice hit, and everyone turned their eyes. It was a bloody prisoner, dressed in a black and white striped prison uniform, and became a dish of hairy spiders. Who are you? Help me. Please help me. Ah. I can give you treasures. Give you supreme glory. As long as you save me. Similar screams continued, and Taotu raised her eyebrows. This is only the first level of purgatory. It is said that the imprisonment place of Impel Down will only be more severe one by one. It is unimaginable. Marine's operation behind the scenes. How hot is it? Advertisement. As soon as Taotu's voice fell, several giant hairy spiders were staggering towards Taotu, making a sneer and whisper. No, they are coming towards us. It's the blood of the prisoners who died before. Tsunade frowned. No, they came in a direction. The giant spiders here seem to have been instilled with self-awareness and will attack people here desperately. Nine Tails sensed the danger and grinned as a precaution. Boss. All the people approached Shin Luo all together, preparing to prevent the giant spider from hurting Shin Luo even if they were injured. Some tricks. Shin Luo smiled ironically at the corner of his mouth, and walked forward without fear of the bloody spikes under his feet. Shin Luo Yun walked gently, and with each step, the blood-colored spikes under his feet would be calmly stepped into the ground by him. Is the physical body full level? Ignore external harm. For Shin Luo, the blood-colored spikes on the red lotus layer are still too good compared to his full body. No, it's impossible. What's the origin of that person? He is not afraid of Crimson Hell's spikes. Strong. So strong. Look, even the giant spider dare not approach him. When we were locked in, what happened outside of Impel Down? After a few sensations, Shin Han walked forward unmoved, and walked into the giant black spider under the stunned group of people. The spiders stepped back, seeming to be terrified of Shin Luo in front of him. A red robe lined Shin Luo more and more mysterious. Advertisement. Sneer. Under the strong pressure of Shin Luo approaching, an 8-legged spider with a size larger than the other black spiders jumped and pounced on Shin Luo. Are you crazy? That person didn't dodge or hide. This is a black spider. He is very poisonous. I thought that someone came to save us in the fire and water. I didn't expect to be a fool. It's a pity that his body is like a copper wall and iron wall. Under everyone's doubts, the giant spider pounced on Shin Luo's arm, biting the latter's arm. Everyone gloated, but the black spider leapt off Shin Luo's body quickly and fled as if he had seen a god. Shin Luo on his back showed a weird smile. With only a sound of pouch, the giant spider burst instantly, and the green blood was strangely stained on the scarlet red lotus, leaving behind a coquettish part. How can it be? People at the red lotus layer cannot survive if they are bitten by the black spider 0.0 spider. This man is really terrifying. He is immune to the black spider's poison, but kills the spider. Who is he? Who is he? In the hysterical shouts of the crowd, Shin Luo's thin lips lightly opened, noisy. As soon as he said this, there was immediate pressure to the distance, and a large swath of bloody spikes in front of him shattered into foam in an instant. You guys, what are you doing in a daze? Shin Luo said to Dao Tu and the others with no expression on his face. Okay, boss, let's keep up. Nine Tails took the lead and walked on the flat road cleaned by Shin Luo. I remember it. A newcomer among the prisoners knew something new. He is Flowing Cloud. He is the Flowing Cloud god of Mermaid Island. You can't go wrong. The red robe and the black cloud, the strength is inestimable. This man, yes, come to slaughter Impel Down. Chapter 213. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. A few people ignored the exclamation behind them and moved forward quickly. Taotu looked at the deep pit in front of her, and said in thought, there is no other exit on the first floor. I must go to the second floor. This is the mouth. It's a black hole. Let's go. Shin Luo's voice was indifferent, and he jumped into the dark hole first. Taotu, Tsunade, Nine Tails, etc. are next to it. The second layer is the Hell of Warcraft. Rumor has it that this layer is spread all over the world of Warcraft. Compared with the poisonous spiders on the first layer, it will be even more powerful. Taotu said with a solemn expression. Before the words fell, a scream came in time. What? Go away. Crap. The people on this layer would be a bit more vicious than those on the previous one. In front of him was a big Blackbeard man, naked, with a scar across his face. Who dares to approach your grandpa and me? He just roared, and frightened the beast in front of him a few inches. It's Boob Scar Carl. Taotu was surprised. Is it amazing? Tsunade looked contemptuous. Taotu Ten calmed down, and said solemnly, it's not very powerful. I used to be a little famous in the Beihai generation. Because of the boob fruit, Marine has a headache. Way done. It is said that he was finally caught by a pirate. The hunter was killed, but he was secretly imprisoned in the demon tier. Taotu smacked his tongue secretly. Of course, the boss is still a scumbag. Huh. The Scar man seemed to notice the movement here, and walked with a trembling fat body. You newcomers, what are you talking about me? I don't know what's good or bad. Nine Tails looked cold, and slammed forward to put Scar man down. I thought it was something that I couldn't even carry it. It's more than that of Galora. After personal verification, Nine Tails treated Carl even more disdainfully. Advertisement. Damn, shit, if Lousy wasn't handcuffed by the Seastone handcuffs, I wouldn't be defeated by your rubbish. Scar man spit out, naively thinking that his defeat was due to the Seastone handcuffs on his hands. But I don't know that in the eyes of Nine Tails and others, a man who can be restrained by a mere Seastone is a rubbish. But it's no wonder that Scar Man is so self-confident. At this level of monsters, all those who are struggling to flee closely focus on Qin Luo and others. People on this level are small and famous all over the world. Scar Man was even worse. He was imprisoned in this monster purgatory early in the morning. No wonder he didn't know Qin Luo's reputation. Boom. With a few deafening roars, the entire floor of the Warcraft purgatory was trembling crazily. Before Qin Luo and the others had yet to know what had happened, the crowds around them were already dead. No, it's buggy risk. One of them shouted. Forget it, it will come sooner or later. The others are desperate, seeming to have guessed their end, and even the idea of resistance has disappeared with the time. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. No, if it were just buggy risk, there would be no such a big movement. It's blood. The smell of blood. Only the death of the same kind of monsters can trigger the competition of other monsters. Someone calmly analyzed, and the Scarlet Man drank for a while, FK it, cut one by one, and kill one pair by one. With just a rough sip, groups of monsters came from a distance, with different appearances. The only thing in common was that the monsters who came together were all overwhelmed with chill, so bitter that they seemed to swallow their lives. This battle is definitely not caused by the death of a beast. Way done, it's you. You are not the newcomers who were imprisoned. You came from Crimson Hell. The man's big drink drew everyone's attention to Qin Luo. You killed the poisonous spiders on the Red Lotus lair. Qin Luo's face was gloomy, and he wore a red robe and added his body, mysterious and unpredictable. Who are you? Advertisement. Hey. Qin Luo sneered, his voice indifferent and daunting. Even 2 levels of purgatory have caused such a big movement, it's really grueling. That's the right way to be the boss. A bloodthirsty smile came up between Ninetails' lips. Little ones. Qin Luo shouted loudly. Yes. Ninetails and others responded in unison. On. With just a up. The coercion on Qin Luo's body was undoubtedly revealed, making the faces of all the hosts present condensed. If Ninetails, Tsunade, Tautu and others received a big order, each of their lips smiled, their bodies flashed, and they crashed into the rampaging beast army. Quote. Are they crazy? So many of us might not be able to deal with one of them. This man actually want the people under his hand to die together. Crazy man. Crazy man. No, they're not dead. With a low voice, he put a bunch of people's eyes on the jumping Ninetails and others. The 2 women are so amazing. It's the Davda flame beast. Davda, who was unsuccessful in our last group twist, was actually solved by that woman with a single kick. What strength this is. There are a total of 3 extraordinary generals under his hand, this man, just who is sacred. We are saved. We can live. In just a few words, the beasts in front of them were quickly solved by Ninetails and others. The purgatory of the beast's lair left a tyrannical smell of blood. Who are you? The Scar Man stepped forward at the right time, his lips and teeth trembling. He was really scared, and he felt the pressure from Qin Luo personally, and it was so breathless. Advertisement. Flowing clouds. Qin Luo's indifferent expression spread quickly, and the name was tossed and discussed among the main population. Lu Yun. The scarred man paused. Have any of you heard of the name of the 310th person? Everyone shook their heads. Senior must be a hermit expert, and now I don't know what came to this impel down. Scar Man's attitude is obviously respectful, and he also used the title of adult in the face of Qin Luo. I want to move this impel down. Qin Luo's voice stopped like water, but everyone present opened their jaws in shock. Strong. It is unpredictable strong. Everyone in the room looked down. If others said this, they would treat it like a joke. It's just that the Luyun in front of you is different, and everyone has seen his strength. All the pirates present are proud of their previous achievements, but since stepping into this impel down, no matter how big their ambitions are, they have been polished out. They have no strength to toss again, just thinking that they can die more comfortably. The man in front of him said that he wanted to smooth impel down so plainly, it was in vain. Even, he should not be called Luyun or the boss, but should be God. He is a well-deserved God. God of flowing clouds. Qin Luo didn't know what was in the hearts of the people present. Tautu jumped out from behind and frowned. This is only on the 2nd floor. There are 3 full floors behind. We have to speed up. Qin Luo smiled as he had expected. Who said that we must go down layer by layer? Chapter 214. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Qin Luo's words didn't have any glamour. The surrounding breath dropped a little bit, the air was threatened by powerful pressure, and it whirled madly. His eyes narrowed slightly, and his red robe fluttered with the hurricane. The Tsunade people behind him understood what magical power Qin Luo wanted to use, and immediately retreated. Full body level. In just a moment, Qin Luo's body swelled to the height of 2 stories. With every inch of increase, the ground under his feet sank a point, until he reached the sky of Warcraft hell above his head. The entire level of purgatory was trembling at his growth. Qin Luo lifted his foot and kicked down with 10% of his strength. The ground of the second-tier demon hell broke instantly with his move. Starting from where Qin Luo fell, the spider cracks continued to expand outward. What is Luyun God going to do? One of the people in the black prison uniform couldn't help but tremble and ask. Listen well, Qin Luo Haki said, and the sound wave shattered the prison door of the demon lair, making people's heart trembling. If you want to survive, take care of yourself. As soon as the voice fell, the ground of the monster lair was instantly hollowed out. What? Except for Qin Luo's people, none of the people present did not let out a heart-piercing roar, and the voice was so powerful. The third layer, the hunger layer. What happens? It's the beast layer. Why is the voice coming from our side? Advertisement. At that time, the hungry people didn't know that Qin Luo's magical powers would be waiting for them. Qin Luo's eyes were condensed on a piece of yellow sand in the hungry layer, and the corners of his mouth evoked a sarcasm. His figure tens of feet tall was still full, piercing the sky of the hungry layer. Listen to the prisoners of the hunger class, Qin Luo shouted. Those who want to survive, find a way to protect themselves later. After today, Impel Down will no longer exist. Qin Luo's indifferent voice is like a god, spreading above the hunger layer, shaking into the bottom of people's hearts. Who is talking? Don't pretend to be a fool. Is it a member of the beast level? Come over and play with him. There was a lot of discussion underneath. Qin Luo sarcastically raised his lips, and used his physical body to full level twice, ignoring any harm. Bang! After a few loud noises, Qin Luo penetrated the sky and ground of the hunger, scorching, and extremely cold 3 levels of purgatory, and reached the eternal hell in one fell swoop. It's not unbelievable. The huge movement caused a large dust to fly, the sky of eternal hell was pitch black, and there were only countless loneliness. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. I'm still alive. Lord is still alive, ha ha ha. Father walked out of the scorching purgatory. Go Laura can't think of that choppy ha ha ha. Soon after, those who were brought to eternal hell by Qin Luo's blow were all cheering for their rebirth. A seething cheer. Tautu patted the dust in front of her eyes, locked Qin Luo's body with a glance, and leapt forward. Boss. Qin Luo pinched her waist dozingly, holding her slender waist with one hand, staring at the criminals deep in eternal hell with biting eyes. Advertisement. FK Lousy Quieter. A rough roar came from the deepest part of the eternal hell's cage, and the coercion brought by it caused the hearts of everyone present to tremble. The weaker ones already couldn't restrain their legs from shaking. What a powerful force. Someone among them whispered softly. Where is this place? This must be the eternal hell on the 6th floor. Tsunade emerged from the gravel and put Ninetails' hand. Eternal hell? What eternal hell? Isn't Lousy coming out? Impel Down has only 5 floors. Where the hell is the 6th floor? One of the curly-haired men couldn't help screaming. Clean your mouth for the old lady. Tsunade's piercing eyes made the curly-haired man who had just exploded foul language become speechless. The 6th floor. The legendary 6th floor. Ha ha ha. One of the prisoners was the first to fall into a mad state, with a transparent liquid secreted from the corner of his mouth, and smiled idiotically. In the legend, some famous people are imprisoned on the 6th floor of the super pirate of the Grand Line. Lousy actually reached this level of hell, and died without regrets, ha ha ha. What? There is actually a 6th floor. That is to say, we didn't escape, and even fell into the most terrifying hell. The people around were in panic. Ninetails walked up to Qin Luo. Boss, what are we going to do next? The air fell silent just in time. The people below are all looking at Qin Luo standing high. This man who took them away from the first few floors, but made them step into another abyss. The red robe is fluttering, and the black cloud is added. Where is it sacred? Hey! Qin Luo sneered and turned to face the people below. The king's aura on his body was revealed, and people couldn't help but be impressed. Advertisement. Listen to the people below, he said, I know you want to escape from this Impel Down. Today, whoever finds me a man wearing a red-bottomed and black cloud robe for me today, I will take whoever out of this Impel Down. Qin Luo was calm and breezy. He didn't care about his face. The person underneath grew his chin in surprise, and a frantic enthusiasm appeared in his eyes for a while. This is a godsend. can get rid of here and leave forever. Although in other levels of purgatory, some people have already given up their hope of life, but now they have the hope of living, and there is no reason to forget about it. What's more, the man in front of you is absolutely powerful. If it can be favored by him. No, it is enough to just get his protection. A man who can destroy Impel down will definitely do something big in the future. People underneath have different thoughts, but the only thing that keeps the same pace is to seize this opportunity to win Luyan's attention. It's just that in the gap between everyone's concentration, a gloomy jiggle laugh from the depths of eternal hell, which is gentle and deep, falling into people's hearts but causing ripples. I think I am sacred, but I'm just a hairy boy. After defeating the scumbag of Golora, I thought I was overwhelming. In fact, I'm just a clown, and I dare to show off in eternal hell. The voice in the depths of the hell was low and hoarse, as if someone's throat was pinched. Tsunade yelled. What kind of rubbish are you? Dogs don't know Tarzan, and your little experience is embarrassing to be used to satirize the boss. Little girl, think twice about speaking, otherwise, you will die. When the misty voice struck again, it carried a strong sonic force and struck straight towards Tsunade. Colorless and invisible, quietly, the vast majority of people present, even the position cannot be distinguished. Noisy. Qin Luo sounded like water, and the coercion that swept away with indifferent sound collided with the sound wave of the person. In an instant, the front exploded, and the violent sound horrified the crowd. The scumbag who can't even escape eternal hell, is there any right to yell at my people? Chapter 215. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Everyone sighed Qin Luo's strength. Boy, you have some strength. The low voice seemed to be grit to the throat, and then he sneered. Even if you can break through the first few hells, in this endless hell, you can only wait for death. Tautu showed disdain. What kind of thing are you? Before he finished speaking, Qin Luo stopped him with one hand. It's important to find someone. If he doesn't believe it, he can't believe it. Under Qin Luo's orders, a group of people found Hedan one after another. In an instant, the shouts to Hedan were endless. Boss. Ninetails walked in front of Qin Luo and nodded. It's amazing. Although this 6th floor is not small, but we have so many people looking for it together, we still can't find Hedan Kid. Have you looked for it seriously? Qin Luo said indifferently, calling back the people who were looking for it. I've looked for the 3 columns over there. One of them replied, and there was more enthusiastic response on top of it. Boss, is there a mistake in the information? Tsunade came up with his waist, his brows twisted together. The news that Hedan was on the 6th floor was revealed by Magellan. Is that poisonous man lying to us? Ninetails analyzed the situation and raised 9 big tails. Tautu then said. There is such a possibility of 717, way done. The strength of Magellan can be used wisely, comparable to Marine Admiral. A person with such strength is so cowardly in battle, it is unavoidable that everything is suspected. He set up the game. So, that's really a scheming guy. Ninetails didn't have the anger of being deceived, but instead figured out the purpose of Magellan's move. Could it be that he wanted to take the opportunity to delay and then go to Marine headquarters to move rescue soldiers? Advertisement. Is he crazy? Tautu frowned. Knowing that he couldn't beat him, he even called someone to die. Okay. The topic ended with Qin Luo's utterance. Everyone is divided into 10 teams and go to each column on the 6th floor to find Hedan. Qin Luo redeployed, and after a short while, the scattered people underneath condensed into a team, and followed Qin Luo's call to find them in an orderly manner. Time slowly wiped away, and the 6th layer of eternal hell's breath became more and more solemn, and everyone's eyebrows were covered with unresolved sadness. Ah! A group of heart-piercing shouts attracted Qin Luo. What happened? Weird monster. There are monsters. The prisoners of the hunger layer rolled towards Qin Luo, looking horrified. Inside. So strong. All 10 people in our group were eaten by that monster. Tsunade and others also heard the sound and rushed over. Does the monster have any other characteristics? What tricks did it use? Unexpectedly, the prisoner rolled his eyes suddenly, and his whole body was soft on the ground, and his whole body trembling. I don't know. It's terrifying. That's a prisoner. It's a monster. There are no monsters to blame. You are a pirate, and you still believe in a monster. Scar Male Carl appeared behind the people and walked to Qin Luo's side like a favor. Master Luyun, you see, I will help you talk about it and see who is pretending to be a fool. Qin Luo hasn't spoken yet, but Scar Man kicked the prisoner away. Go away, shit. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. With everyone's breath holding concentration, the Scarlet Man walked into the column swaggeringly. The monster inside, Don't pretend to be a ghost, get out of Grandpa. Only after the Scar Man roared, there was a weird silence for a few seconds, followed by a heart-piercing scream. When Scar Man rolled out again, he already lost half of his head. Ah, the monster is angry. It's the monster. It's him. The man who had previously escaped from inside suddenly saw the most horrible thing in the world. His eyes widened, his legs and feet were used together and he backed away frantically. Advertisement. Calm down. Tsunade pinched him from behind. If you think about it, what are the characteristics of that monster? Tautu asked, leaning forward. That monster has red eyes, a huge body, and a blue flame. Red robe. He wears a red robe. Everyone's expressions were agitated by his words. Are you sure it is the red robe? I'm sure. His robe is crimson, bloody. In that case, it might be Hidan a little bit. Tsunade thought thoughtfully. Whether it is or not, it is necessary to go in and take a look. Shin Luo concluded, striding deep into the depths. Nine Tails, Tsunade, and Tautu followed closely behind. As soon as he entered inside, a deafening roar broke through the sky. The scenery in front of me was pitch black, and something seemed to be lurking in the shadows, as if to devour them alive. Every time everyone takes a step closer, the coercion on the body will be a little heavier. Shin Luo, who has a heaven-defying skill with a physical body full of level, has no perception, but the peach rabbit behind him can't stand it first. It feels that the more you go in, the more eerie. Shin Luo's eyes condensed, and he directly embraced the peach rabbit in his arms, with a low voice, I will protect you. Tautu's complexion turned red, followed by broken steps. Let's go. Nine Tails walked to Tsunade's side to remind him in a low voice. Advertisement. Tsunade will come back to his senses. For some reason, a little bit of discomfort will appear in his heart, and he simply turns his eyes away from the pair of shadows in front of him. What a powerful force. Afterwards, even Tsunade couldn't help but marvel. The blue flame addition that the person said just now refers roughly to chakra. Nine Tails narrowed his eyes, and seemed to be aware of the danger inside. Before everyone's words fell, there was another roar that shook the sky, accompanied by a huge air current. This time the air current lifted the railing on the back, and the prison doors were all damaged to varying degrees. Whew! Shin Luo snorted, the airflow stopped, and there was crazy laughter from the depths. Jayahaha, you are finally here. A sturdy figure walked out of the darkness, shaking the huge fat on his body, and thick liquid was constantly pouring down from above, and the broad steps fell on the ground, agitated. There was a burst of stone fragments. Who? Tsunade said softly. It's me, Hidan. The person's voice was dark and his eyes were red. As the previous person said, his red robe deepened, and the mask on his head was shattered. You are finally here. Are you Hidan? The peach rabbit in Shin Luo's arms was unbelievable, and Sakura asked slightly, how did you become like this? It's a long story. Hidan leaned forward and placed his sturdy arm in front of the two of them. Come and help me first. My wrist is handcuffed by sea stone. Tautu broke away without hesitation. Shin Luo. I remember getting the key from the jailer. While rummaging, Shin Luo behind him burst out with earth-shaking coercion. A powerful air current swept everyone present, and the air pressure blew his red robe, his voice calm and powerful. You're not real Hidan. What did you do to Hidan? Chapter 216. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Shin Luo's words made everyone present on guard, and Hidan smiled bitterly like a helpless. Boss, it's me, I'm the only one who got caught in the tricks of the Marines. Hidan's words were really sincere, with a pale face and empty eyes. Boss, Hidan is really wronged. Let's help him. After speaking, walk towards Hidan. I don't care who you are. Unlock the control of Tautu. I can make you feel more comfortable. Shin Luo said coldly. What? Control? Tsunade couldn't believe it, and walked to the right of Shin Luo. Boss, do you recognize his real body? Looking at Tautu again, her eyes are already blank, and her complexion is even more pale. A trace of disdain appeared at the corner of Shin Luo's mouth. It seems that you are determined not to repent. With a flimsy word, Shin Luo stuffed the peach rabbit in his arm into Tsunade's arms, releasing the endless pressure on his body. Back. The two Tsunade Nine Tails immediately backed away. In a flash, the surrounding air currents were surging crazily, as if they were given life and tried to spin. A thick liquid was flowing on Hidan, his feet were bare, and he broke the sea stone handcuffs away soon, with a jealous smile in his mouth. Gradually, a physical ball appeared in the palm of his palm, flooding with blue fluorescence. It's chakra. Nine Tails exclaimed, he also has chakra. Before the words fell, Hidan leapt forward and flew towards Shin Luo, Shinluo withdrew for a flash, causing Hedon's entity chakra to hit the ground, and dense spider cracks burst immediately on the steel and stone ground. Advertisement. There was a lot of roar around. Chakra. A fake, this time. A scornful smile appeared at the corner of Shinluo's mouth, a red robe surging with the wind, and the mask was squirmed slightly by the powerful pressure, revealing a smooth chin. Shinluo's figure flashed, and he reached the level of his physical body with one foot, and kicked towards Hedon's huge heart. The other side dodged and escaped Shinluo's attack. The prison behind him was already distorted because of Shinluo's relaxed kick. A burst of gunpowder filled the sky and the sky rang. Boss. The fake Hedan seemed to explain, and the words ended. I don't like being called the boss by fakes, like that. Shinluo jumped and knocked down Hedon's fat shoulders. It makes me feel very sick. Hedon's upper body seemed to be crushed by a huge truck, and his feet quickly moved backward, rubbing a string of flashes of fire. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. At the same time, Shinluo's exposed pupils were densely patterned. In an instant, a blue light attached to Shinluo's body, and the fake Hedon's complexion condensed, and his hands suddenly became uncontrollable. What did you do to me? He roared hysterically, but Shinluo smiled contemptuously. In the way of a person, he will be treated. A cruel smile flooded the corner of Shinluo's mouth, step by step approaching the fake Hedan, who was forced to kneel down. Let me go. A strong murderous air erupted from him, but it couldn't reach Shinluo's domineering eyes. Jahaha. Luyun, do you think you can bring me down with these little tricks? Hedan on the ground sank and laughed arrogantly, his eyes gradually turning red. Oh, you admit that you are not Hedan. Shinluo raised his eyebrows, and the pattern in his eyes gradually faded. You can't beat me. Jihaha. Yes, Luyun, you can't win you with the appearance of your subordinates. The fake Hedan's smile became bloodthirsty. But, what if you use yours? Advertisement. The monster in front of him has not yet realized what it means. The monster in front of him raised his arms suddenly, a burst of blue smoke filled them, and the monster that appeared in front of everyone again was already like Shinluo. This is. Tautu was surprised. Well, are you satisfied with the power of my clone fruit? Clone fruit. Tautu's face sank. Are you the clone King Jack? So you are also in eternal hell on the 6th floor. That's my name 50 years ago. Jack's expression moved, as if he was extremely satisfied that Tautu recognized him. How? Luyun, do you want to try to see the power of clone fruit? Jack raised his eyebrows, and moved quickly to condense gas in his left hand. The power of my clone fruit is not just a clone of your appearance. Tautu's brows tightened. Indeed, the clone fruit is the fruit that the pirates of all walks of life have been looking for many years, because the clone fruit can clone the fruit ability of other abilities. She suddenly raised her volume a few times. Boss, Jack's abilities can replicate the abilities of others, which is equivalent to the second you. Be careful. Shinluo nodded and smiled, interesting. After the words were finished, the action rushed forward. Shinluo only used 30% of the strength this lap, in order to probe the bottom of Jack. Zero seeking flowers. However, Shinluo can use the upper layer of power to crush a huge steel stone tens of meters high into foam and no longer exist. The more the power stacks up, the stronger the stronger. These 3 layers of power, even if they are rewarded. A pirate with more than 500 million gold can also be severely injured and dead. Saying that time is too fast, Shinluo hit Jack directly with a punch. Jack's chest muscles were squeezed to deform. The surrounding pressure forced the air to collide fiercely. Shinluo smiled sarcastically on his lips, satisfied. Return to the original place. I'm a counterfeit, and I can't stand a blow. After that, Jack, who took a punch from Shinluo on his shoulder, spouted a mouthful of blood, but the smile on the corner of his mouth became deeper. Jia ha ha ha, what kind of attack should I attack? Tickling. Luyun, that's it for you. I can't bear it. Advertisement. ... When everyone thought he was desperate to save face, Tsunade noticed Jack's condition. He didn't brag, the boss just attacked him and didn't do any harm to him. As soon as this remark came out, 4 people were shocked. Sure enough, Jack's chest is still as bright as new, even if it is as steady as 9 tails, he can't hold back his teeth. In this way, the undamaged body of King Kong does have a somewhat fractal shape like the boss. I'm afraid that the ability to clone fruits is more than that. Tautu looked worried. After all, the 6th level of hell is far from the strength of the upper levels. Interesting. Shinluo's voice was as pale as water, and the corners of his mouth curled up with a shallow smile, and the complicated patterns quickly turned over in his pupils. At the same time, his figure skyrocketed dozens of times. Are you irritated enough to use a trick? Jahaha. Jack sneered, his arms bursting thick, and his body shape quickly soared following Qin Luo's figure. The huge moments of the two people opened the sky of eternal hell, and the huge shaking attracted the previous prisoners. What happens? Floating cloud god is fighting eternal hell's monster. The crowd rushed in quickly, while Qin Luo's body was still swelling wantonly. Jahaha. I was wasted effort. Luyun, I can do what you can do. If you can't beat me, you can fight with your hands. Jack's arrogant smile ravaged the sixth layer of the sky, and the people underneath would recognize him with a little sense of sight. It's the clone Jack. My god. That's a godlike existence. God of flowing clouds is actually fighting against him. Chapter 217. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Oh, please beg for mercy, Luyun. Qin Luo's face was dark, and the man in front of him was yelling in a low voice that resembled himself, asking him to beg for mercy from another cloned ghost. He smiled quickly. You don't have to pretend, is it you? What? Jack gave a gruff. When we first came in, the voice that asked everyone to shut up, and the person who later attacked Taudu with sound waves, if you are not wrong, you are cloning Hedon's Wanli voice transmission technique and doing the trick. Qin Luo the methodical analysis, the voice is as cold as ice. Jahaha, I didn't expect you to have a little brain. Jack gave an exaggerated smile. Yes, it's me. But what about that? Your power can't do anything to me. It doesn't help me to keep increasing my size. Luyun, don't forget that I am a clone. I can always follow your steps and grow up. He Dao. Qin Luo sneered. Yes, I have to say that the fruit you ate really refreshed me in the beginning, but, he lengthened his voice specially, that's it. Jihaha, you are still doing it today. Jack exaggeratedly squeezed out 2 tears in the corner of his eyes. Stop it. With a rough drink, a huge coercion struck Qin Luo, with a slight smile on the corners of Qin Luo's mouth, his voice was as cold as ghosts. Really? After speaking, Qin Luo's figure flashed, and the pressure of his body level hit Jack at Jack, while his body was constantly getting smaller, and Jack was also effective in imitation when he saw it, but it was obviously not as fast as Qin Luo. Counterfeit goods, you should stay in the dark and never stand up. A bloodthirsty smile appeared at the corner of Qin Luo's mouth, like a Satan walking out of the Asura field. The temperature around him dropped rapidly, and he had shrunk to the height of a normal person. He moved quickly and dropped his fists before and after the slowly shrinking jacket. Your biggest flaw is that the clone is always a beat slower than the deity. Advertisement. This is the flaw Qin Luo discovered, and it is also the reason why he is so sure that the other party will die under his palm. The steel rock of eternal hell caused a violent roar under Qin Luo's fast movements. Qin Luo's movements have already broken the limit, and the crowds below can no longer catch them with naked eyes. Every time Qin Luo attacks Jack, his powerful feet will fall on the walls of eternal hell. In just a few tens of seconds, every wall where he falls is covered with devastated spider cracks, densely packed. Expand outward. No. Impossible. Jack couldn't recover his body within these tens of seconds due to the huge change in his body shape before. He could only endure Qin Luo's fatal blows one after another. The principle of Qin Luo's physical full level is not to ignore all attacks. To be precise, it should be that all attacks are as if itchy in front of him with physical full level, so it has the effect of immunity. It's just that, facing the fake Jack, as well as him who is full of fakes, he will be overwhelmed by the blow of Qin Luo's deity who has an explosive attack. What? Accompanied by Jack's tragic cry, his body was like a deflated balloon, which became smaller by an inch under Qin Luo's attack, and the surrounding walls instantly turned into powder under Qin Luo's rapid footsteps. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Qin Luo rested, and stepped on Jack's bloody back with one foot. The prisoners who rushed to hear the sound all opened their mouths and locked their eyes tightly on Qin Luo's posture. Fight. Defeated. It's a lie. Unexpectedly, really defeated the legendary clone god. Shock. It's unbelievable. Qin Luo in front of me is no longer as simple as the previous savior. Advertisement. In the eyes of the dry pirate underneath, the one held in the eternal hell on the 6th floor is the legendary pirate. Although Qin Luo has already surprised them by breaking through the first 5 levels of hell, it is still shocking to see him easily defeat the legendary clone Jack now. It's really incomparable. Qin Luo naturally didn't know what they were thinking. Jack under his feet was twitching frantically, his stomach churned, and a large pool of black blood was vomited in an instant. You. He was talking intermittently. Qin Luo saw this, and his feet became stronger. Where did you get Hedan? Jia ha ha ha. Jack vomited blood again, his eyes red. You can't kill me. He didn't answer Qin Luo's question, but turned his gaze to his eyes. You old people, what are you doing hiding behind? Come and help the labor and management. Everyone hasn't realized what happened, and they don't even know what medicine Jack Gord bought. It was just a moment later. Outside Qin Luo and others on the scene, everyone felt cold on the back spine, and cold sweat fell on their foreheads. What is this? Everyone looked around, looking for what happened. In the cage that was previously destroyed by Qin Luo, a man of various shapes gradually emerged, as small as a mouse, and as large as an ancient tree. The only thing in common is that in the crowd gradually approaching Qin Luo, no one exudes strong coercion. For a time, so many powerful people gathered, even Qin Luo inevitably frowned. Jahaha, Luyun, what if you win me once by chance? This eternal hell is closed, and there is no small number of people who are stronger than me. Jack's words were a little crazy. I want to see, yes you die, or I die. Jahaha. Advertisement. The prisoners on the other 5 levels gradually gathered and were surrounded by the approaching eternal hell prisoners. Not only their strength should not be underestimated, but their numbers are astonishing. It is hard to imagine how much the Marine government has spent to lock these people out. No, it's not good. The face of the starving layer was as gray as death. It's the legendary big pirate. As soon as his voice fell, there were a few panic expressions in the crowd. Hey Simida, a hurricane fruit capable person. Strength 5.4 reaches 600 million. All members of the Pop Green Pirate Group. It is said that the bounty of each crew member has reached the 500 million pirate group. God. They are the legendary pirates. It's over. This time it's completely over. The 6th-tier prisoners outside the crowd laughed strangely, and suddenly the wind blew up and surrounded the surrounding areas, infiltrating everyone's pores, making people feel chills. Jahaha, come and help Lousy, and kill Luyun this mess. Jack leaned on the ground and laughed idiotically, and one of the people on the periphery sarcastically, Jack Turtle's son, you are so king ugly like this. Jack laughed arrogantly. Haha, missteps, quickly rescue me, and then we leave this impel down together, then I will have a drink. The crowd approached, and a strange smell flooded in the darkness. Chapter 218. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. This must be the Luyun hero, right? Hey, Simida is lean, and he looks at Qin Luo sneakily with a pair of eyes. Qin Luo raised his chin and counted as a response. Are you planning to do something with the boss like that prisoner? Tsunade leaned out from behind. With a charming expression, the waves in front of his chest looked like 2 giant white pigeons, making people unable to look away. Iyaha. Hey Simida didn't pay much attention, but turned her gaze to Qin Luo with interest. Hey Simida, don't listen to that girlish bullshit. As long as you save me, I will divide my outside property in half with you. Jack was afraid that Simida would change his mind temporarily, leaving him alone. Iyaha. Hey Simida said. Jack, you old bone, won't you stay and impel down for a long time? You don't even understand the rules of the Grand Line. I want Lousy to save you a rubbish, where's your face? Hey Simida smiled sarcastically, and then turned to Qin Luo. Luyun hero, thank you for your kind help this time. 10. The miscellaneous piece originally had an improper mind, but now it happens to have taken the hand of hero Luyun and beheaded it out of righteousness. Naturally, we will not intervene more. Hey Simida's words are full of pride, but everyone present knows it clearly. In Impel Down, there are a few people with clean hands and feet, but because of Hey Simida's strength, it is not easy to open the mouth. That's it. No. Hey Simida, you traitor. You can't do this. Brute. Jack was hysterical, a flash of panic in his eyes. Advertisement. Oh, Jack, why did Lousy want to save you? Hey Simida was irritated by his words. Jack's complexion rose, and he wanted to refute, but was suddenly interrupted by a thin steel needle. The iron needle pierced Jack's head horizontally, and he was killed on the spot, who had been clamoring before. All of this undoubtedly did not come from the hands of Hey Simida. Everyone took a deep breath, and only Hey Simida walked to Qin Luo's side and bowed his head respectfully. Mr. Luyun, I have already taken care of this mess for you. He finished speaking, and turned around. The 6th floor is present. The pirates, they all sold me a face of Simida. Today, heroes of Flowing Cloud, who are my irresistible acquaintances, have a lot of eyes. From killing Jack to standing up for Qin Luo, the purpose of Simida couldn't be simpler in order to climb up to Qin Luo, a high-ranking leader. Although Qin Luo understood, he didn't bother to take care of it. Hey Simida is reluctant and unforgiving. I first heard that Hero Luyun was looking for a man in a red robe and black cloud like him. Have you seen him? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. There was silence for an instant. Well, if that's the case, everyone will look for it together. Heisimada was completely the leader once, and everyone present was afraid of his identity as a reward of 600 million yuan, although he was a little scornful of being so pleased. But I have to admit that Qin Luo's identity really has the qualifications to please everyone present. Everyone had no choice but to act eloquently under the call of Heisimada. No, I am here. A rough voice sounded, and everyone's eyes were attracted. Hidan is dressed in a red robe, with black flowing clouds on his body, and looks very majestic. Advertisement. But the others were shocked. No, it's impossible. 2 flowing cloud gods. Amidst the heated discussions around, Qin Luo was too lazy to explain, walked around Hidan and nodded to him. Ninetails stepped forward unkindly. Good boy, it's shameful that you can be treated by those 5 old men, haha. Hidan's face turned red. The mistakes and mistakes, I was tricked by those 5 old men. Being assaulted can only prove that your cultivation level is not enough. Tsunade stepped forward enchantingly, and reached out and grabbed Hidan's ears. You shit, in order to save you alone, we are all in trouble, go back. I have to make amends for my old lady. Wipe all the floors of the Dragon Palace first. Hidan-san, isn't it said that you are already torn apart? Taotu's face was scattered with unresolved worries. Hey, Hidan smiled lightly, I am immortal. Although the 5 old men have some strength, they are still too good to kill me. It was just a simple conversation, but the crowd behind them were surprised to return to their senses. Immortal. How powerful is that? It seems that the strength of this Hidan will not be much worse than that of Flowing Cloud God. The faces of all the people underneath are different, and together with some of the top players who have exceeded 500 million in bounty, they also look strangely tight when facing Qin Luo and the others. Qin Luo didn't know it, and nodded slightly. Since the matter has been reached, it is time to set off. He turned to the people behind him. Let's go. Tsunade. Hidan Ninetails Taotu nodded and planned to follow Qin Luo out of this impel down. Advertisement. This. The face of the person who had come down from the first 5 floors condensed, and one of them dared to shout, are you not going to take us with you? A hint of sarcasm flashed across Qin Luo's face, and only Tsunade and the others understood that according to Qin Luo's temperament, they wouldn't be able to help others easily. Seeing that Qin Luo has made enough preparations to take a few people out of here, the prisoners on the 6th floor will start to be anxious. Wait, Luyun. One person yelled, but Qin Luo quickly led a group of people to escape from the impel down sky. Some prisoners who dreamed that Qin Luo could take them to escape were greatly disappointed. Hit. GG, the old man will not play with you 700 scumbags. A curly-haired man from Eternal Hell said, his hands quickly fanned, and a pair of thin wings appeared on his back after a short while, towards Qin. The big hole Luo smashed out flew upwards. Laozi is also gone, leaving the ghost place of impel down. The other person also muttered a word, and after a short while, the long thin ears quickly turned over, bringing his entire huge body to the sky. In a short while, the people scattered on the 6th floor of Eternal Hell were all performing their unique skills, and they wanted to escape from this place where they had been imprisoned for decades or even more than 100 years. What? They left like this. Most of the people who can use their own power to escape are Eternal Hell's elders. After all, ordinary people are not as capable of heaven-defying as Qin Luo. If this impel down is really so easy to escape, they won't be caught in the beginning. Closed in. Having said that, there are not a few people who can escape here by themselves. After all, Qin Luo has already opened a road. The 6th level of hell, leaving only a wailing of the weak, shaking the sky. On the other side, Qin Luo will bring a group of people to the door of impel down, and there is a hysterical roar in the distance, accompanied by huge waves, and a slight mist in the sky of impel down is big. The fog gradually fainted in front of him, and even his vision became blurred. Chapter 219. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. What's the situation? Taotu's complexion condensed, and a pair of beautiful eyebrows frowned slightly. Pirates followed in 2s and 3s. Seeing Qin Luo still standing in front of him, they all bowed. Heroic Luyun, although it is not your intention to save us today, we are not ruthless and unrighteous people at all. Today, Wu, has accepted your love, and I will definitely be grateful for him tomorrow. One after another, voices of gratitude sounded one after another. Qin Luo looked at the sky in front of him. The drizzle fell on his face, but he couldn't hide the cold light in his eyes. It seemed like a sword that killed countless people. Awe-inspiring. You can't leave. Qin Luo's voice was as indifferent as water, and the shallow wind hit his blood-colored robe, depicting his graceful figure like an immortal who does not eat the fireworks in the world. What does the hero mean? The man behind him asked. Marine is here. After the words were finished, the sound of the sea churning in the distance, falling into the ears made people hold their breath. Marine's battleship held a large white flag with a light blue seagull pattern hung on it, quickly enclosing the periphery of Impel Down. His grandma really surrounded us, said a man with a beard behind him. These Marines are really idle. Impel Down is destroyed like this, and they come here to make trouble. GG, you still think about your situation. Another person retorted. At this time, the pirate team felt like a mess of gruel, complaining one after another. Advertisement. Marines fell on the ground of Impel Down one after another. What made Shin Luo a little unexpected was that the crowds who had complained repeatedly faced the arrival of Marine, and they all had a bit of resentment towards the enemy. What Shin Luo didn't know was that all the eyes of the people behind him were fixed on him. The people of Shin Luo's Kamui who were there witnessed it all. With this lifeline, they are afraid of what Marine. What if Marine has warships? The man in front of him can even pierce through Impel Down. They also took advantage of this opportunity to see what Shin Luo can do. Lu Yun, it really is you. The headed lieutenant general squinted his eyes. Forget it if you killed Golaula, and now you have broken Impel Down. Even the prisoners on the 6th floor are also released. Damn it, it gives you the courage. The long-haired lieutenant gave a rough shout, and his voice seemed to spill a layer of gravel. Hey, Shin Luo smiled contemptuously. Why Marine doesn't have such a long memory? I sent you a lieutenant to tell me that Marine is so pitiful that he doesn't even have an admiral. Shin Luo said this just to embarrass Marine. In terms of it, even if the Marine headquarters sent Admiral to come, it was just to die. Lengmian Lieutenant General, since you know that Golora was killed by the boss, you are a Lieutenant General, afraid that even the Deputy Warden can't move anything, and you dare to ask the boss for trouble, for fear that you don't know the dead word. How do you write it? Tautu's words didn't leave a trace of affection. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The cold-faced lieutenant's expression became cold, and he felt the mockery of Marine behind him, unavoidably a moment of shame. You are just a traitor, what right do you have to scream in front of Lousy? Before the Lieutenant General Lengmian finished speaking, a cold breath approached Lengmian's forehead. Before he could defend himself, he received a heavy blow on the head and fell to the ground instantly. All the Marine soldiers took a deep breath. No one dared to ask who made the move, but they all had a judgment on the person who undertook the killer. Go away. Shin Luo yelled at Hockey, and Marine, who was crowded in front of him, gave way. Advertisement. So Tautu Tsunade and others followed Shin Luo frivolously, and no one dared to move them. It was so beautiful. The pirates behind him wanted to keep up in a circle in 2s and 3s. The Marines thought they were all being guarded by Shin Luo and did not dare to act rashly. Shin Luo stopped for a while, but swept behind his eyes with calm eyes, no more words. After getting on the boat, Shin Luo's coercion unfolded as many as possible, making those who want to use his name to have nowhere to go. The warship set sail under the watch of a group of people behind him, and saw the figure of Shin Luo drifting away. The previous group of Marines only realized later. Lu Yun didn't protect these pirates. Get them quickly. Express to the Marine headquarters. Ask them to send more people over. We can't fall behind. The eloquent voice has nothing to do with Shin Luo. The sea breeze mixed with the salty smell blew on his face with a hint of coolness. Tautu jumped in front of Shin Luo with a pleasant expression. The boss is really so cool today. Shin Luo took off the mask at the right time. How many times have you said this sentence? Tautu poses as a little woman, and pounces into Shin Luo's arms shyly. It's not enough to talk about the adoration of the boss. Shin Luo smiled low and pinched her thin waist with big hands, seeming to be extremely satisfied with her. Okay. People who don't know thought that our ship had just returned from our honeymoon. Tsunade's expression flashed a little complicated, but facing Shin Luo, he quickly concealed his inner discomfort. Advertisement. Boss, where are we going now? Ninetails jumped forward and asked. Naturally back to the Fishman Island. Shin Luo answered lightly. FK, boss, you just finished Marine's Impel Down, and you ran to the Fishman Island swaggeringly. Don't you worry about hurting the pond fish. Hidan froze. You don't understand this. Ninetails stepped forward and patted Hidan on the shoulder. The boss blackmailed 20 devil fruit from Baguma not long ago. Although that one of the pirate group dishes pen, but in terms of grand line, it is not considered a good product, and it can also play a role in knocking the mountain out. Furthermore, according to Marine's handling plan, if we really have the ability to do something to the boss, we will not be able to enter from impel down and bring someone out. Tautu showed disdain and nestled in Qin Luo's arms, taking in a piece of warmth. Fly. Do on. You haven't talked about it. You exhausted all of us to save you. Is there any compensation? Tsunade squeezed Hidan's ears vigorously, deliberately not looking at Qin Luo, but Dao the rabbit's little bird urine always bumps into her eyes inadvertently, making her feel uncomfortable. It hurts. Hidan took a deep breath and whispered in a low voice. I still believe that others are exhausted. You drunkard. Like a cow, and exhausted. I think 80% of them are overnourished. What did you say? Tsunade deliberately increased the intensity of his fingertips, and the strange feeling of seeing Qin Luo holding a peach rabbit was sent to Hidan's ears. Wow. You madam. Who will marry you after being so fierce? It hurts, so be gentle. Hidan barked his teeth and begged for mercy, but Tsunade's strength was stunned in his words. Yes, she is like this, which man would want it? Tsunade glanced at Qin Luo again. The peach rabbit in his arms was looking at her worriedly. The two of them were so right that she felt dazzling. Damn, I don't care about it. Chapter 220. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Tsunade's silence is nothing but exhaustion after victory in everyone's eyes. Sailing all the way to the vicinity of the Fishmen Island, there were quarrels in the distance. Even though there was a distance of 100 meters, the violent collision sound seemed to happen in front of my eyes. Boss, there are two teams in front of them, they seem to be fighting each other. Standing on the bow of the ship, Ninetails glanced at the two people fighting on the sea in the distance. Should we take a detour? Tautu was cautious. It's not necessary. It was Tsunade who spoke. Whether it is based on our identity or the character of the boss, there is no reason to detour. Tautu nodded clearly. Then we now? She asked. Qin Luo's eyes sank. Now watch the changes. Everyone was concentrating in peace. It was just a moment. The sky and the clouds suddenly changed. The sea under the boat was also surging and boiling, and the seabirds sent newspapers to Qin Luo in pieces, like that. A terrible thing happened to the side. Boss, this. Tautu was puzzled. I don't know which two pirates are colliding, which can cause such a big conflict, and it is also a strong one. Ninetails issued a pertinent evaluation, and then stabbed Tsunade in the shoulder. Who do you think it is? 150. Tsunade's gaze has been closely following Qin Luo, and when he heard Ninetails' question, he was absent-minded. There are only so many kinds of goods on this sea, who can be there? Ninetails followed her gaze and saw the figure of Qin Luo Chuiyu. There was a peach rabbit cuddling beside her, making a clear look. I know. Advertisement. Do you know what? Qin Luo strode forward, without any emotion on his face. Hee, it's nothing. Ninetails smiled and turned his gaze on Qin Luo ambiguously. The boss deserves to be the boss, even characters like Tsunade can be captured by the boss. Everyone obeyed the orders and turned the ship 50 meters eastward. Qin Luo said as pale as white water. What? The east side is where they fight each other. Ninetails was surprised. Boss, even if we don't make a detour, we don't have to go straight through. That would be too deceptive. Qin Luo's face darkened. Is your boss like such a boring person? Besides, he pondered slightly, there are some things that interest me. Okay. You are the boss, you have the final say. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The group of people moved quickly, just a few words, and the two teams in front of them have already picked the war to a feverish stage. Tautu covered her lips in surprise. My god. It's Roger. Ninetails' eyes narrowed slightly. Who is that golden goatee? It's Golden Lion. Hidan jumped to the front, looking forward. Both of them are Grand Line powerhouses. I didn't expect the two of them to fight. Tautu looked solemn. This is a well-known pirate in Grand Line. The collision of the two pirate groups is bound to trigger a win or loss contest, and even a historical change at that time. And Qin Luo, the reason why he told them to reverse the course of the ship, was that he became interested in the two tricks. Advertisement. He pondered for a moment. Deserving of the powerhouse of the Grand Line. As soon as Qin Luo's words came out, even Tsunade was slightly surprised. Qin Luo, when did he boast such a person? Although this is not an extreme compliment, it also means praise. I have to make everyone's eyes turn to the situation. I saw a bloodthirsty smile at the corner of Roger's mouth, and he stepped on the moonwalk with his toes. The sea water quickly turned into a whirlpool under his pressure, and his heavy palms slammed into the chest of the golden beard. The latter drew away, stepped on the air and rose to a high place, with golden light faintly glowing on his body. Roger landed on Golden Beard's boat, and the pirates behind him shouted at the flying Golden Beard, "Boss!" Roger is in our hands. We will catch him now. A bunch of people rushed forward, but Roger easily dodged him. Roger put on a red robe, and his strange laughter stirred the sea, and laughed. Golden Beard, it seems that your men are still dead. Sex will not change. Jinbert blew his beard and glared at his men. You all King give lousy aside, the old man is going to fight Roger alone. Before he could say anything, Roger on the ship armor underneath his knees and quickly greeted Golden Beard with a punch. Golden Lion was distracted. He didn't expect to encounter this trick, so he used armament hockey to greet him. Two rock-like fists collided together, making the sound of surging ocean waves, and a powerful air current flowed through the gap between the two people's fingers, quickly rushing the members of the ship to the old man. Obviously it was just such a silent punch, but it was so terrible that everyone around him could not survive the disaster. The two went through a few more moves, each of which carried the potential of landslides, and the people present had to maintain a high level of mental state at all times, lest the strong wind would take them away. Qin Luo squinted his eyes, a smile wafting from the corners of his mouth, and Tautu sighed in his arms. It is indeed a struggle between the strong, even the distance between us can feel the impact. This grand line, after all, is the depth of Hidden Dragon and Crouching Tiger. As soon as Tautu's words fell, the wooden deck lifted by Roger and Golden Lion's palm wind swept towards Qin Luo with the hurricane. Advertisement. Tsunade slashed the wooden block that came toward her with a palm, and Tautu, because Qin Luo was beside her, blocked the powerful deck for her intact. Tsunade's face was suffocated, and he deliberately turned his gaze back to the battle. Roger, fighting returns to fighting, and it's not okay to lead the war to others, right? Golden Lion smiled at the corner of his mouth, but even so, the fist that was thrown out of his palm was not lost. Jia ha ha ha, when will my Roger's battle be peaceful? Golden Lion, if you want to fight with me, you should be prepared to lose your belongings. Roger finished speaking, and the two moved quickly, and the movement caused only increased. Boss, come on. The members of the Golden Lion pirate ship cheered hysterically. Boss, don't come back to see us if you don't win. The Roger pirate crew was not to be outdone. The faces of the two bosses were condensed, and they burst into mad laughter. Jayahaha, it seems that you will be driven out by the crew if you don't win this time. Roger laughed, but there was a hint of coldness in his eyes. Hun is like this, driven by the crew, I heard that right. Are you really the rumored Roger? Golden Lion laughed into his stomach, his face with a hint of mockery. The aura of the two of them dropped sharply, and the surrounding sea frantically beat the air, making a violent trembling sound. If the struggle just now was called a war at sea, then the next scene might be recorded in history books. The two men's clothing tactics surged wildly, and the strong wind did not affect their fighting spirit. A contest between the strong and the strong officially opened the competition.